Are we going to do that or not?
I think we'll do like 2 and we'll cut it for time if we need to.
Okay,
And
you got that one I sent you though, right?
Oh, God, I'll find it. Yeah.
It's literally in our chat. It's not that fucking hard.
I hate scrolling
It is
upward.
not
I don't
that
like looking at the past.
Fuck off.
Just
In the first aeon, I was the Great Spirit. In the second aeon, men knew me as the Horned God, Pangenitor, Panphage. In the third aeon, I was the Dark One, the Devil. In the fourth aeon, men knew me not, for I am the Hidden One. In the fifth aeon, I appeared before you as Baphomet, the god before all gods who shall endure to the end of the earth. In this new aeon, I appear to you as CMN.
Imagine that there is a brilliant white light just above.
Is commentary on the magic art.
In the years of the primal force and the dawn of terrestrial birth.
Oh, that was very educational.
Now magic will take place. Don't be fooled by what I just said.
welcome, everyone. I am Starchy Mechanism Kennedy, and this is Chaos Magic News. We were a Magic the Gathering podcast, but we're in way too deep now. Joining me, as always, is my protectionist co-host, Benjamin Nut and Yahoo.
Wow.
He nuts and then he goes Yahoo. He's like Mario.
No.
know.
I'm Benjamin Nut and Yahoo, as in I get some cashews and then I drink a chocolate, an
That's a
off-brand
Yoo-hoo?
chocolate milk.
Both of those
Yeah,
things
you
are
get
not
that.
the
Well,
things they're trying to
I
do.
grew up on the street.
Cashews
and,
are not nuts, and Yoo-hoo is not chocolate
Cashews
milk.
are nuts. What
They're
the fuck are you
legumes,
talking
you
about?
fucking...
No, peanuts are
Freak.
legumes.
No, peanut.
Everyone give a wave behind the glass to Gary, our terrible Gary behind the glass there.
I sold
everyone.
the glass.
Arguing with the host like 5 seconds into the show.
Sorry.
Let's start the intro.
No,
over
you're right.
again.
You're right. Cashews are nuts. I'm fucking stupid.
Do you actually want to start it over again?
Hi, I'm
I'm sorry. My bad. I was trying to keep the
Welcome.
bit going. I'm sorry.
welcome.
No, we're definitely not starting over with you doing the
I'm second magician Kennedy here.
No, I'm canceling.
And welcome to Chaos
this
Magic
entire
News.
fucking episode is done.
We're being
Stop.
derailed by my uncooperative co-host.
Pull out a name from your ass right now, and I will let you keep going with this bit. If not, shut the fuck up and let me do the shit.
My positively fiery co-host, Candle Savage. Candle, how you doing?
Oh, that's barely a joke. Whatever. I'm fine. I'm very waxy.
That's an actual knee slapper. That was good.
Okay. Now that travesty is over with. How's everybody doing?
Oh,
Everyone great? Everybody really thrilled with life?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the intro topic.
All right. Well, this week, Cios, or dear
Patreon supporter, Cios93,
Yep.
in the Discord. Lovely person.
Really cool homie. Yeah, I dig him. But he shared something that I really thought was worth talking about. I actually stopped myself and said, "Hey, I typed out like 2 paragraphs, and I stopped myself because I think I'm just going to talk about this on the show."
Which is a great way of getting out of conversations with people.
Just
Hey,
go-
that's a really awesome idea. I'm going to use it for my show later.
Well,
so why don't you listen in?
How
then?
about I walk away? So really what it is, it's a great excuse to act like you have thoughtful opinions on it. You know, I said I typed 2 paragraphs. I could have just been slapping the keyboard. I had a sidetrack about the peanut butter sandwich I was having earlier. Anyway, the topic at hand came from, I think, the Chaos Magic subreddit. So that's...
Oh, joy. That's
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
fun time.
Why did Chaos Magic fail in the 90s? No.
Oh, shit.
That's
That's an inside joke if you've ever been to the
I think
Chaos
most-
Magic Reddit.
I think most coyotes know that one. Anyway, what happened to the absurdist sect of Chaos Magic? They used to perform absurdly convoluted rituals that helped you achieve weirdly specific yet utterly pointless desires like elongate your middle finger by millimeters because it would make you more of a man! Exclamation point. They would conjure spirits from dead ants to haunt abandoned wasp hives to avenge a generational grudge. They would write lengthy poems that hid secrets to other hidden magical texts stashed in abandoned buildings or sheds. Write runes in gas station toilet stalls that pointed to some strange lore. Bring back absurd chaos magic. Forget these self-serious Muppets. The cult of Sirius must be liquidated. So here was my gut reaction to that. Those people are fucking insufferable. There are so many. It's almost a contradiction. And I've got some positive things to say about this too. So this isn't me going, oh, fuck them completely, because I do think there's actually something good about this. So I'm going to do the negative, and then I'm going to try to end on the positive. But here's my problem. There's a weird paradox of people who, in a weird way, take their lack of seriousness seriously.
Ooh, very complicated ideas.
I'm sorry. No, you're right.
I'm just being
But
an
it's
asshole.
just people who hold their absurdity up in such high regard. These are the type of people that, like, you'd ask them to explain magic, and they give you an intentionally obtuse non-answer, that sort of thing.
And they'd be very smug about how
and they're really
whimsical they
exactly.
are about it.
Yeah, exactly. These are people who, like, to them, they're examples of their successful magic, like how they used their meme page to spread a thought virus around. And then the idea that, like, the fact that people are repeating their stupid in-joke is like, I'm controlling the memosphere. And it's like, no, you made a funny thing and repeated it.
And
like
other
40
people liked
yeah,
it.
you got 40 likes. Not that we're doing numbers either, but, like, I'm not claiming that it's a way to tap into the etherics of the interwebs.
Here's my issue with most of it, and it's sort of my issue with, like, parody religion, right?
Sure.
It all starts out with a very interesting, cool idea, and it gets used for fucking hogwash.
Yeah.
I can't remember who I was talking to specifically about this. They were discussing the Church of Subgenius folks, specifically Ivan Stang.
Yeah.
Like, how radical these people used to be. And then look at them now. Like, they're doing speeches where they're talking about, like, oh, for some people, Slack is just a decent job and a place and a roof over their head. And, like, these were radical motherfuckers talking about, changing the way that we viewed the world and breaking these kinds of codes of convention and stuff. And now they're telling you that, like, the best we can do sometimes is just to have a job.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But not everyone's like that, obviously.
No.
Like, I'm not making the argument that, like, anyone who's ever used the phrase trickster archetype referring to themselves is necessarily, like, a fucking hack.
It's a red flag.
Yeah, completely candid. I think a lot of the times it's people doing the absurd and the surreal because it's easier than doing something complicated. You can have a certain level of detachedness from it because, oh, hey, it's just a joke. We're guilty of it on this podcast a lot, where we'll say, like, oh, well, we're just the stupid jokey joke podcast, even when we're talking very serious ideas.
It can be the comedic dodge of, like, oh, well, I don't take this seriously. This is a joke. This is a ha-ha, Some of those folks are just absolutely insufferable because it's like their sense of comedy stopped after they watched 15 episodes of Tim and Eric Awesome Show. They're stuck in this, like, mid-2000s kind of level of wackadoo random humor.
Well, you notice, like, there's a generational sort of bend with it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're like Gen X or prior, you have a little less tech savvy on you, we'll say, for the most part. So they don't tend to have, like, bigger social media projects that they can do this sort of thing on. So they tend to make, like, art that's just, like, weird like that.
Yeah.
Or they'll have, like, a Facebook that's, like, not even like it's like a personal Facebook that's like, just got a character name on it or some shit, and they post shit.
Or a couple thousand.
The millennials and forward are the ones that tend to have, like, the bigger, they're the ones running the meme pages. They're the ones with the Instagram handles. They have
it's probably one of them that
Substacks
figured
and
out
shit.
it's probably one of them that figured out, like, the TikTok NPC idea. You know? Which I don't know. To the point of, it's like, I think there's a certain level of, and this is me trying to get back to the positive, is that absurdity in the idea that it can break, like, you know, like you were saying with the subgenius thing or Discordianism or anything like that. There's the idea that you can use the absurd and the strange in ways that will break up your normal perceptions of reality. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that doing stuff like doing wacky magic can get really wacky results, and that can be good. That can make you
Actually, you know, that's something we should probably touch on a little bit, because we went into a very particular area with it too. Just now we were talking about the kind of online use of it and that sort of surreal. Because I remember even when we started the Discord, we had a member that was performing a some sort of vanishing ritual involving Homer Simpson trying to lose weight.
Oh yeah,
and it seemed to work for him. And that's much in the same wheelhouse of what this post was originally talking about, right?
Kind of. I mean, I guess, because he's like, but he was basically using like a very typical banishing ritual with a pop culture pastiche.
Yeah.
This would be where I think things kind of can break down, is that when you do magic for really oddball, who gives a shit kind of goals, where does it leave you? If you're just doing oddball experimentation magic for the sake of it.
Well, you notice that's a phase in chaos magic in particular, but I would assume in most magic,
Yeah.
where you go, I'm going to start doing magic to do, well, I mean, hell, Prometheus Rising, right? It's the exact thing. It's like, all right, let's see if you can make a quarter show up. It's like, is it important to manifest quarters? Not in the slightest, but just see if you can do it. And then see how you're thinking about it affects it, obviously. But the point being that, like, what's the example that they used in that little post there,
like
about growing your finger a millimeter because it'll make you more of a man?
Yeah.
Very goofy, very funny.
Well, and then like the summoning ants to haunt wasp nests, like that sort of thing. It's like, that is something that you're not going to have any confirmation on whether or not it worked. It's just it's an act for the sake of it. And maybe there's something to be said about that. The idea of doing magic, I guess that's the catch-22 though. It's like, if you don't have a goal in mind, it's not magic. Unless the goal is explicitly to do the act.
Well, yeah. Well, what if the goal was to get this wasp nest haunted?
How do you go back and check?
Well, you can't, but you're doing it for it anyway. And don't tell me you've never done magic that you know you have no way of being able to confirm.
I understand that is an issue, but this is where, like, I'm talking about in this sort of absurdity, is that there's a certain level of practical groundedness that you should, I hate using words like should, but there's a level of practical application in your magical practice that is beneficial, because if you're too out on a ledge, who the fuck knows if anything worked? It's that thing that we talk about when everybody has these host of inner experiences or astral spirit guide experience sort of things, and then they don't do anything with them in their real life. Now it's like, you could very well be having a bunch of magical experiences, but they don't do anything for you. What's the point? You're having a certain level of like weird disassociative or escapist tendencies under the guise of a magic practice. And maybe that's another thing we could say about these increasingly absurd weirdo things. It's like, you're just doing like,
yeah, is the summoning the ant ghost, like, is that just to make you feel like you have something going on, like it's a power fantasy of some kind?
Yeah.
Or is this weird game where you're like constructing a very large and elaborate type of puzzle or like art project for your magic with that? It's like, well, you know, the typical like, oh, I made a hyper sigil to do some very asinine and wide scope kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Grant Morrison, granted, is like his hyper sigil, like what he was trying to accomplish with that is a very murky territory, but it's one that's evolving over time, as opposed to, I'm gonna make a hyper sigil art project that's like me posting stuff on Tumblr, and then you find the matching code on BDSMler and you match up the face shots, and it, you know, it's to bring about world harmony.
Yeah, that kind of goes
what
into
the fuck does this mean?
I haven't really seen a whole lot of ARG or hyper sigil as an ARG type thing, but that, I'm sure that has to be a thing, and I'm sure it can be neat. There's probably a very good way to do it, because then you can have the added benefit of there's engagement of the audience with the project. But the problem with most ARGs is that you never have enough people paying attention for them to matter.
look at the most popular ARGs of the last couple of years, they always tend to be like horror.
Yeah.
And
But
that
to
Kanye West thing.
I mean, well, that one, that's just magic. Point being is that as far as the absurdist sect of chaos magic, you can make the argument that these people are beneficial. Incorporating that into your practice can be beneficial in a certain way. And the idea of breaking up your world in a way where you go like, you know what, I can have goals that are not tied to the very narrow-minded animal survival and social problems that I have. Not everything has to be about me magicking up more money or a big titty goth girlfriend or, you know, or my dealing with my anxiety or I don't know, you know, getting a
message from Jesus. That
yeah, that sort of thing.
The second coming has
Sometimes,
coming, and then if you don't start building that shelter,
yeah, you know,
magic.
magic.
We have to build the shelter. I've been telling you for weeks. Why are you ignoring me? I know we're doing this show. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Gary cut his mic.
That was an inside
Gary
thought.
cut his mic. You guys were just so boring. I zoned out for a second. But no. Okay. Is your mic cut, Kennedy? Okay, I think it works.
Is it cut?
All right.
No. I'm here. I just forgot how my mouth
Kennedy,
worked for
are
a
you there?
minute.
Professional podcasting.
I think we got
Okay.
him. I think we got them. I think we got the second.
So the point being, I do think that there is a tangible benefit to getting really fucking weird, but only insofar as it allows you to break up the patterns that you have been assembling your reality around, if that makes sense.
I would take the spin on it that I think getting fucking weird with it is great, and you should be doing some weird ass fucking magic and getting outside of your comfort zone and doing some shit that maybe doesn't even have a rational, tangible benefit. All that stuff's fine, but you have to be able to formulate a magical will and a magical intent and what you actually want to do and what this is going to accomplish and bring about in your life. Because if not, it's just fun time escapism. Frater Seraphim, if you know who that is, and he's one of them orthodox guys that fucking trads love to bang on. But he did say one interesting thing. Well, I mean, I'm sure he said many, but he said one interesting thing I heard.
This is it. This is the one good one. Everything else he said.
He was talking about how a lot of the time what people are cultivating when they're looking for spiritual experience is they're looking for good times. They're looking for shit that feels good and makes them feel good about themselves. And that's as far as they're able to take religion. And, you know, in his case, being an Orthodox guy, he's talking about religion, but it's very much the same in magic. There's a certain level of what you're doing that if you're not careful can just turn into you, like you said, cultivating good times and weird experiences. And not just in the sense of like, oh, your active imagination and your astral projection and your fucking inner spiritual reality and stuff, but also to a certain point, just going through the motions of enjoying doing ritual or the theatrics of it, or I don't know, even in the most mundane sense of like rearranging your altar like it's fucking furniture, feng shui, and it makes you feel good. The kind of surreal edge of chaos magic is very much in the same vein, especially because it's already working within a system that has no hard and fast rules about what you're supposed to do with it.
Right. When you have a system that is going to validate whatever choice you make, regardless, in the idea of nothing is true, everything is permitted, it becomes, we've talked about it, it becomes very easy to just lie to yourself. But that's another one, is that you can say like, well, the goofy nonsense that I'm preoccupying myself with when I could arguably be striving for some sort of improvement, you know, even if it's only a subjective improvement of myself, my relationship with the world, and, you know, or just my magical abilities or my creative functions. Instead, I'm distracting myself with yucks.
Yeah, I'm summoning the ghost of Herbert Hoover, and I'm making
The guy who
him
made the vacuum
watch. I'm making him watch episodes of All in the Family. That way, when they get to the line that we could sure use a man like Herbert Hoover again, I can be like, "Ha, dude! See, they like you. They like you." The other question this post is asking is about what happened to them. Why do we see less and less of that? And he's right, or she, they, the person that the poster is right. OP is correct. There is far less of that today. I don't think it's necessarily that there's less people having dumb, stupid power fantasies, doing dumb magic that makes no fucking sense and doesn't do them any good. And it's also not because there aren't people doing interesting, surreal, strange magic there. So you guys aren't getting mad at me.
Yeah, I really don't want this to come across like we're being purely negative.
Well, let's just, nuts on the table. You and I both think that, like, most of the time when people do this kind of stuff, it's really goofy. That's why it's really great when you see somebody do it properly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and okay, one last thought, and then I'll let you tie a bow on this because we are kind of all over the place. I'm reminded of when I was doing my interview with Mavis. We made a comment, something to the akin of like, part of why you do magic is because it's fun. You wouldn't be doing magic if there wasn't something enjoyable about the whole process. Sometimes you want to solve your problems with the magic because the magic is really fun.
Oh, yeah.
The enjoyment you get out of magic, in a way, has to be a little bit of Sisyphus, I guess, is that it's like, there's always going to be a struggle. There's always going to be a problem. If you can enjoy dealing with the struggle, and the struggle in this context is the striving to continually improve and the striving to expand your understanding and your proficiency, you're going to be all right. But the minute you become comfortable with just fucking around, you're going to lose it. And maybe in a weird way, it can go back to what Peter Carroll talked about. This is like Liber Null, where he talked about like the magics, but the magics of old world religions has completely gone out of them. As they've fallen into orthodoxy and dogmatism, they have lost anything that could have really been like, yeah, that was like some real magical process. And maybe in a way that can happen to you too, is that if you let yourself fall prey to many of the enemies on all sides of whether taking your magic far too seriously or going into the weeds of complete nonsense, you can lose the magic. You can lose the thing that has you really going, oh shit, this is where the real crazy spooky shit is happening.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a double-edged sword is what it is. Well, actually, I think it's I think
it's
this is
a double-headed axe. How about that?
It's a 3-headed mace. But it's an interesting tool to have to use because I think there is a real fucking power in tapping into the genuinely surreal and the genuinely absurd. The not just comically absurd, but like the cosmically absurd. There's a great power in dealing with that. But any attempt to involve yourself with it brings you into the realm of just being lost in the fucking sauce on it. And that's why I repeat what I said earlier. I think the things you need to really be able to use this sort of stuff properly are the ability to formulate a magical will and a magical intent. Because if you don't have that, you are totally going to get lost in the game of just playing around with symbols and images or the lack thereof, or just breaking the rules because you can. And it's like, it's, you know what it is? It's going to sound like the dumbest comparison, and I'm going to be called a dumb zoomer, even though I'm not, right? You ever seen people speed run a video game? You know how when you get into the really complicated levels of it, it's like people doing shit that doesn't make any sense, like doing backflips into one spot and like crouching and stuff.
If you hit
to
this
break,
if you hit this one part of the wall at this angle in the right way, you'll fall through it, and then as long as you don't actually move the camera and you just hit this button combination, you can slip through here, and then somehow you're at the credits.
Yeah, it'll trigger the end of the game.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Right.
Where you're so far from the beaten path of how the game was intended to operate, and you're doing really fantastically, like, wow, that's crazy. I would have never figured that out.
Right. It's the difference between being able to do that on a magical level and playing a game that's just really buggy and fucked up, and you're like, haha, see, I can make myself fall through the fucking sky forever.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, wow, check out, this game is so glitched. No one has heads anymore, and if I go through a door, I cause an explosion, as opposed to, hey, I have used this weird glitch to, I don't know, Amanaton the Eschaton. To
Or you know what?
Peloton the eschatology.
I have eschatoned a pelican.
Wrap it up because we always do this shit. Have you ever done anything absolutely absurd and like off the wall with magic?
Oh yeah, loads of time.
Can you just give us one that sounds like completely off the fucking rails?
I guess the Man Boy King.
Ah, the Man Boy King.
Yeah,
No, we need to talk to the.
I made we essentially made like an egregore in our workplace or something, where it started as like I made like this little board in the back. There was this little like it was like a cork board or something, and it wasn't even being used for anything, and I just ended up drawing on it. Because like somebody had started with like a little smiley face, and then I just went ham and I started drawing all of these like extra details, and like I ended up giving him a crown, and I put like sigils into it and stuff like that. And then other people at my work saw it and started adding on to it, and I was like, yeah, I know that this is the Man Boy King. He had a bit of there was a bit of like Arisian energy to him. There was a bit of like crown child conquering lord Horus triumphant type energy to him, but he was just this weird, it was just this weird form, this weird thought, this weird mishmashy archetypal psychic buildup that just anyone who's done food service knows that they're inherently chaotic environments. So a lot of psychical interference running around. So it's a good spot to plug a weirdo into it and see how people get weirder when you're around him.
Yeah, I remember the Man Boy King. That was pretty lit. Let me see if I got a good one. Never mind. This is gonna sound stupid as shit. Back when I was working construction, I would work my fingers till they bled, literally. And when I did, I would use my blood to create weird sigils to cause terrible things to happen to the contractors of this place because they didn't pay me enough.
Vengeance is mine.
Yeah, so there's lots of middle class people buying new construction homes that got weird fucking cursed sigils in
Hell yeah,
human
brother.
blood just hanging out underneath their paint.
And they got curses.
Yeah. They're never gonna let me back into that line of work.
Actually, I guess I got maybe one more. Photoshop used to be like my primary magical interface with the world. Like I was using like artistic, like I was doing like these artistic collages and everything. Is like I was expressing whatever desire I wanted. I was finding these combination of images and embedding sigils into this, and then adding this on to here and stuff like that.
Oh, I still use that.
I don't do.
I
it
make like
enough.
all of my
I
wallpapers
just
on
make
my
fucking
phone do
memes
that.
now. All I do is make fucking memes to try to get that algorithm to be happy.
Oh,
It's like, are you happy yet? No. No one's gonna listen to your podcast. No one's gonna listen to it ever again.
Why did you? What was that voice?
I'm the algorithm.
Oh shit! Oh man!
Post another co-editing image. Post another one. Become a living god. Become a living god, but make it say Zod, and it has the guy from Superman in it. Yeah, that'll hit him.
Is that
When you
Mark
16 likes?
Zuckerberg?
Oh no!
Fuck
Guess you shouldn't have listened
I'm
to
such a big
me.
fan.
Are you okay?
Fuck you. Not you, I'm talking to the algorithm. Fuck the internet. Fuck the modern internet.
I want to bring back Mudkip.
Yeah, bring back Mudkips, man. Mudkips were cool. I like Mudkips.
Bring back Mudkips. Bring back Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Bring back
Yeah.
newgrounds.com.
You know what? Bring back all the weird magic. I was wrong. Bring back all the weird people doing stupid
Bring
stuff.
back the guy doing the ritual with the Jafar staff from Aladdin.
Yeah.
Bring back the guy doing a funeral for the squirrel and making it a saint. That's just something I did, actually.
Oh, I thought of one more. I would catch frogs and I would name them Jesus of Nazareth, and then I'd just let them go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
but that
about?
was literally just because Crowley talked about crucifying a frog, and I like frogs, damn it, no. And he said, you baptize a Jesus of Nazareth, and then you crucify it. And I was
You're
like,
like,
well,
hell
fuck. Well, here's what I think of your shit, Mr. Crowley. And I'd name them all Jesus, and I let them go. Just let them live their froggy lives. Now I got like a freaky frog Da Vinci Code thing going on because they probably all went on and had children. There's
What?
a holy frog blood. There you go. That's my absurd magic. You're all gonna get on board with you guys have to
blood of
you have
Jesus
to,
of Nazareth as the frog king.
You have to find a frog that is a descendant of one of the Jesus frogs. All right, guys.
This is getting into some bad territory. Like,
Okay, I got the frog. What do I do now?
Give it a kiss.
If it turns into a prince, prince of the Jews, then it's the right one. If it's just a regular frog, you gotta drown it.
If it's just a regular frog, you just give it another kiss because it's cool. Frogs are cool. Give them a little.
All right, I think I got a toad, actually. I think I fucked up. Hold on.
This is a nude, actually.
This guy's looking all pissed off at me. Fuck you, dude. Piece of shit.
Oh, God. Okay. That has been far too much. I have fun editing this.
I will. You know I will.
Okay.
All right. So Shakti mats are weird.
Oh God,
you already know what I'm doing.
Are we gonna jump into a Banish with laughter thing? We've been talking about weird internet stuff. Now we're gonna talk about more weird internet stuff.
We're gonna see the type of people we were talking about with this absurd magic. Except not really.
No, I think
these people are taking it very seriously.
I think we just got like two that we wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Actually, this kind of goes with the bloodline that you were just talking about, weren't you? So this is just a post that's like, some random dude whose name I'm not even going to give you because fuck him. Seems like kind of a prick. It says, people forget Christ and Mary were real people who had living bloodlines which would still exist today. Anyone from these bloodlines would obviously carry the same facial features, eyes/eyebrows/nose/lips, etc. With Kaylee McCanny from Fox News. It's amazing how it is to see.
It's amazing how easy it is to see.
Yeah, with Kaylee how do you say her fucking name?
I think you said it right.
McEnany?
No. No. That's not how you said it the first time. That's not even close.
I think it's machination.
Either way, it's a picture. Then we were included a picture of Mary, like that, a portrait.
Like a Renaissance white Mary depiction.
Next to this Kaylee McEnany.
And saying she looks like that painting.
And she don't look like the painting at all.
Yeah, one, she does not
even
look
close.
like it. Two, all right, so Christ and Mary were real people with living bloodlines which would still exist today. Debatable. Bloodlines die out all the time. I mean,
they had one kid.
Genghis Khan did pretty well for himself, but he was kind of fucking. He was kind of fucking.
Well, here, I'm just going to say, we know about Jesus's extended family a little bit because we know Jesus had a cousin who also didn't have fucking kids.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure Joseph's brothers or something,
well,
maybe.
That Joseph doesn't count. He's not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's not his dad.
Yeah.
No, wait, there we go.
Yeah.
That's Mary's family right
Didn't
there.
Mary have a sister?
That's the one that had.
Oh, had the cousin that.
It's John the Baptist.
Oh, yeah.
Have you not read the Bible?
It's been a while.
I'm on the extended version, so I don't, I haven't watched the classic.
I've been trying to get them to read the Ibble, guys. The Bible prequel.
Jesus H. Christ.
No, they don't give him his full name until the full version. The prelude doesn't have.
Do you think that's what Mary said? She went, Jesus H. Christ. And he's like, what's the H stand for? So the implication being that like they would have to have relatives, and like, well, no, they don't.
No.
Like, and then
they could all
anyone
die
from these bloodlines would obviously. I love like when people say obviously
at the shit
at something that is
wrong.
One, not obvious, and two, fucking wrong. Yeah. So it's like obviously they would look exactly the same because no one's genetics ever change over time.
Look at the royal family real quick. Let's look at
obviously,
those fuckers.
They would keep. Well, obviously, Jesus and Mary's family would just keep fucking. Oh God, you remember Preacher? Oh God, I forgot about that. Oh no, just keep interbreeding because you got to keep the Christ blood pure, and then you end up with like the hills have eyes, but they're Jesus.
The hills have biblically accurate angel eyes.
Oh no. Oh no. And then he's like, well, there's this lady that I like, and I think she looks like Mary. So it's like, I just don't know if this guy is being genuine or not. Like, is he just like, does he think that that's how they looked?
I mean, it might be a bit.
Yeah, like it could be
But even if it's a bit, it's horrifying.
It's not a good bit. It's not. It's just sort of like, I guess. I mean, Poe's Law sort of thing. How many people do you think? And it's probably way more than I'm comfortable with. How many people do you think are walking around thinking that like the artistic depictions of Jesus, Mary, and all these biblical characters, like that's just how they looked? Like obviously that's
most
how they
people.
look. It's like, well, yeah, but
most people, in fact,
well, that's the problem. It's like
I
that
think
area,
even if you can consciously comprehend the idea that Jesus probably didn't look like a painting of him done in the Renaissance, you probably still think Jesus looks like that.
Well, I can understand maybe in like the cultural archetypal depictions and stuff like that, but you got to know somewhere in your head that they didn't look like that. None of them looked like that. That's not what people in that area looked like, right? Like, as far as my understanding.
I mean, there's you want the honest truth is like, probably not. They probably didn't look like that. No, but at the same time, who the fuck knows? Because people want to argue about that shit left and right.
I don't want to make like a huge stand to be like, Jesus had to obviously look like this one Middle Eastern depiction that gets thrown around the internet all the time.
Yeah.
But like, definitely didn't look like what a random Italian dude thought he looked like in this, when he painted it in the 1300s.
I love the implication that fucking like Leonardo or Michelangelo, like the great master, is just some fucking Italian dude.
Just some fucking Italian.
Like there's just some Vinny with just like a button up shirt, like bowling shirt, just sitting there going like,
I'm in the freaking mafia.
I'm going to show you what Jesus looked like. Say, yeah, I know what Jesus looked like. You wasn't there. I think I could tell you what Jesus looks like.
Take the crucifix. Leave the cannoli.
Oh, God. This has got so bad.
Oh, boy. All of our Italian listeners are going to be real pissed.
Yeah.
When are they not?
When are our listeners not pissed?
Even when
they're
they're
not, the Italians not
even when they're happy, they sound like they're mad.
No, it's Germans.
And they're doing all that stuff with their hands.
That's also the Germans, but it's one motion with their hands.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
No.
I'm getting a very shamed look at my co-host.
Cut that. Do not put that in the show.
Do not put that in the show.
Do not put that in the show.
I think you're going to put it in the show.
I'm definitely putting it in the show.
Okay, do we want to talk about this last one you sent?
Which one did I send you?
Because I sent you the Jesus Mary one, and then you responded with
This one actually isn't bad because this is someone saw fucking American Horror Story and got real mad about it.
Oh, okay. Is that what this is?
Yeah, here I'll go ahead and read it. So this is actually someone that I kind of fuck with. So I'm not going to name them because I don't want to like.
Oh no, it's just out of
context. It's very bad.
It's super funny.
Please do not give your Loa crack / cocaine. No, American Horror Story isn't real life. Legba won't ask you for cocaine. No, he's not telling you to give it to him. That's a trickster, okay? Shaking my head.
Okay, my only thing that I do know a little bit about in my white person who should not be doing voodoo thing. Legba is a trickster. Is that what they're saying? Or they're like, no, that's a different trickster? Or that when I heard that, I was like, no, that's a trickster. Like somebody's gagging you into trying to give. But I do like
think
how
it
it's
is
like
implying that that's not Legba and that's like some trickster spirit.
But Legba is a trickster. That's like
I guess
that's one of his qualities, right? Okay, but the other thing is I like that it's like, do not give your Loa crack, cocaine. It's almost like it's a pet. Don't get your Loa wet. Don't feed it after eating midnight, and don't give it cocaine.
Yeah, that's exactly what my brain made me think. I was thinking like the gremlin shit. Dead ass. Do you have any experience giving narcotics to entities?
I'm not big on it. Alcohol is one thing. Tobacco. I've used psychedelics as sacraments before, but I've never I didn't steal one of my granny's hydrocodone to like crush up and give to. Here you go, Odin. It's not my bag. I'm pretty boring when it comes to even psychedelics. I don't do psychedelics for kicks. I only do them like in pretentious context.
I don't want to have a good time on psychedelics. I want to confront my inner demons and wonder why I yelled at my cat last week.
Yeah. So it's like even that. So I don't see anything
if an entity you were working with like actively told you go find a dude
I'm
with
going
a baggy shirt.
going somewhere else, man. Fuck. It's like what if some spirit is like, bro, the only way this is gonna work is if you get some of that. If you get me some rock.
Seriously,
no.
what kind of
What?
crackhead fucking spirit is this?
Then you go ask me for $1. Then she's like, first,
How the hell I'm gonna summon the fucking spirit and you gonna ask me for a ride afterwards?
yeah, like I don't know, man. I would just say it'd be like because like anything like that, and I don't want to be that person that it's like, oh my god, cocaine is like the worst thing ever, and you're never supposed to smoke crack. You're not like an awful person because you've done crack before or like you've snorted cocaine, like anything. I've mask off. It's like yeah, I've done cocaine before. I don't think it's that good. It definitely ain't like something you want to make a habit of doing, you know. And you got to eat your vegetables too. and you need to listen to your parents and say your prayer. You know, sorry, I sound really fucking square when I tell people like, I think.
I mean, I think there's I don't care what you do with your body, honestly.
Yeah,
I really fucking don't. Do whatever the hell you want.
I
with
just
your
think
shit.
in general.
But I'm gonna tell you flat out, as the greatest and most thought-provoking occult podcast on the internet. Don't let random people on social media tell you what you can and can't give to spirits. If Papa Legba tells you to bring him some cocaine, you just do it. And if you got tricked by a trickster spirit or something, then you just charge it to the game, and that's a lesson learned.
I'm almost the opposite. I think that like if you have a spirit or a god or something like demanding something like that, like yeah, I think hey, I need you to score some fucking H for me. I think you need to actually take a hard look at what and who you're possibly dealing with.
Nah, man.
Like, in what kind? Like, really? I would like to know.
No. No. Get the spirit, the cocaine. Get the spirit, the cocaine.
Oh man,
Get the spirit, the cocaine.
One of the totemic amphibious spirits of the water, as shown to me by the workings of H.P. Lovecraft and the Necronomicon physics, asked me to break into my uncle's medicine cabinet and just take whatever screamed opioid at me. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that shit.
I have worked out an impressive goetic ritual to summon the demon Fentanyl, Slayer of Men.
God, fuck. Hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that.
All right. Well.
Oh no.
Well, I'll have you know that.
You know what?
There's
here's what we're gonna do, listeners. If you're listening to this right now, we want to know what illicit. You know what? It doesn't even have to be like illegal. Just like what weird shit have spirits asked you to just give them or like offer unto them. I really want to know. Actually, here, that's a good opportunity. Yeah, if you had a ghost or a spooky woo-woo monster man thing ask you for, or a god or whatever, ask you for any like oddly specific offerings.
Only the spirit of my former self saying, Daddy needs that white. Daddy needs that white. And I'm seeing that man in the mirror who is not me anymore as he's holding that bag, licking the insides.
You have
wondering just how much money he can get out of grandma's purse before she notices.
You have a very, very sad relationship with various starch powders.
I don't want to.
Glad you think
damn you,
addiction-
cornstarch. This has all been about cornstarch, people.
This whole thing was about cornstarch. Ha!
Tricked you.
Oh, good. I was about to tell you a story and ask you to cut it, but we're not gonna.
Oh, you want to? No, if you want to have,
if you want to talk some real shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
cut it. I keep telling people that it's like really what priced me out was inflation. I mean, it's not the price of the base. It's you know how much baking soda costs now? It's like baking soda is like $7 a box, and it's a little bitty box. It's only like that big.
RFK.
Question.
Did you just
Mr.
say
RFK, did you just say based?
I can't do the impression. Can't keep doing that impression.
You guys missed the greatest
That's why I
RFK
left
impression.
Arizona. I'll tell you that. That's why I had to leave Arizona. It's a baking soda's too high.
Too much,
Goddamn.
too much powder out there, if you know what I mean. It's a desert.
If you do want to hear that lovely impression, head over to the Patreon and you can.
No, unfortunately. Oh, great! Now
So
we
listen
have
for
to.
our 45 minutes of me doing that impression.
No,
just
it's
telling
just
a
my
long,
story
boring
and nothing else.
Out of the Banish with laughter and into everyone's favorite segment of the entire show.
I don't even care about it that much. I mean, it's whatever. It's just a thing we do.
Really? It's just a thing we do?
Get RFK
What's that
out of
thing
here,
we do,
dude.
though?
Fucking come back.
No. Do it
He's
as
stuck.
RFK.
He's stuck as JFK right now, guys.
no, different
No,
letter.
we're gonna do this right. I'm sorry. It's the time where we take. Now I'm gonna turn to Alex, my not Alex Jones.
Just do it, Alex Jones. I don't give
We're
a
gonna
shit.
ask ourselves. We're gonna look deep into the journalistic abyss, and we're gonna ask ourselves, what's in the news? Ooze.
These are the InfoWars.
This is the InfoWars.
Easy news to get out of the way first.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Oh man, that guy was wrong.
Did he die?
No, he's still kicking.
Oh,
Who, Joe
how's
Biden?
He, no, you remember the Joe Biden.
Joe Biden
guy, right?
Joe
No, I
Biden.
don't.
You'll go to the doctor. Your life is 2 years. Maybe
I know the big
1
Texas
year.
boy that says, fuck you, Joe Biden. And then he shoots like 2 handguns. And when I say he's big, he's
No,
like
I'll-
comically big. Like he shouldn't be wearing
I'll
a...
send you the video, but
right, I'll
there's
send you
just
that
this.
one, too.
Yeah, that actually sounds very funny. But there's a video of a guy basically going like, "This is a message for Joe Biden," and it's like a prediction that Joe Biden is gonna go, like he's gonna be president, but he's only gonna be president for 2 years, and then he's gonna die.
Oh.
And he's got like a very, very thick Middle Eastern type accent. I want to say that he's either Iraqi or Kurdish. It's one of those. But anyway, he's telling Joe Biden this, like, and it's like his prediction of like, you're gonna do because you know that you only have 2 years to live, you're gonna do a really good job. You're gonna do a bang up job, and you're gonna solve all of these problems, and you're gonna be remembered as like a great president. I think that's the gist of it. I don't know if you guys noticed that prediction did not come true.
Yeah, Joe Biden is actually still around.
Joe
and
Biden is alive,
It
and
is
he's a
becoming
shitty
a
president.
problem for everyone else at this point. The news we were getting at is there was a special counsel investigation into Joe Biden over the classified documents. What is up with presidents and classified documents?
Well, who else are you going to give them to?
Yeah, but like, what's with them getting them and then like not putting them back where they belong? There's a Slate article, because this is, if you haven't heard about it already, everybody in the world is willing to give you every spin they can put on this. But this is a Slate article that said, will Joe Biden suffer politically from the Justice Department special counsel saying his brain doesn't work? Because what came out of this
His
investigation
brain
was
doesn't work.
what came out of this investigation was essentially that Joe Biden is an old man with a failing memory and decreased capacities, which isn't shocking. He's a very, very elderly man.
He's like, he's almost 80, right?
Yeah,
So
something like
yeah,
that.
your memory you're not going to be as sharp as you once were.
And this is right after he already got like different figures he was like, hey, I met with so-and-so and so-and-so in 2021. And it's like, they've been dead for years. He did this twice, like 2 different people that were actually dead. And he also got the president of Egypt confused and said he thought he was the president of Mexico.
Well, did the president of Egypt also talk about everything is mystical? Because that sounds like something he would say as he's posting. It's like this was one of the Totemic Amphibious Spirits as elucidated by the Necronomicon physics standing atop one of the pyramids. Everything is mystical.
So Robert Hur is the prosecutor and they basically said stuff like,
So they said
did
he's
not
an old
remember
coot.
even within several years when his son Bo died. He would come across to jurors as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory rather than someone who knowingly violated the law. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't someone who knowingly violated the law, but he's saying that Joe is good enough at doing this shit that we're going to be like, oh, he is very much a old man who does not remember stuff. They also wanted to point out, because obviously they have to point this out, that Trump, who is 77, has twice confused 2 political figures during his recent campaign events, which doesn't say anything to me about anything other than maybe we shouldn't have old fucking codgers trolloping up on stage going like, let me tell you about the depression, boy.
Yeah, the only depression I want to hear about is the severe depression you've inflicted upon me because of the state of the country. That's something we've been harping on, I think, almost since the beginning of this show, talking about maybe these old fucking coots shouldn't be, but that's not surprising. The one thing I will say is that to this day, I still really, really do not care for the fact that I got to hear 4 fucking years of people trying to tell me that Donald Trump was mentally unfit to be president.
And then they did this.
When Joe Biden got elected, everybody shut up and said, oh, you need to stop. Don't talk about that. That's ageist, or that's this, or that's this. It's like, no, it's what it is you're a blatant hypocrite.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to criticize the person that you like. That's what it is.
I mean, and to be completely honest, I think Donald Trump is probably more there than Joe Biden, not by much. And Donald Trump's worldview might be more ridiculous and make less sense, but I think he's probably more cognizant.
I mean, I am not
splitting hairs.
I'm not in a position to actually make that call, but look, all I'm going to say is that I think that they're both old codgers that are absolutely fucking insane. I don't know if either of them is actually mentally unfit. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean that you're mentally unfit to be president? Beyond the fact that I think you're an old fucking codger dripping tapioca pudding down your chest.
Well,
and the fact is that both of them are surrounded with enough people that are willing to slap the milk out of his hand and say, no, the milk's gone bad. Don't have it.
Joe, you can't have ice cream until you sign this bill.
Yeah, exactly. And
Donnie, please, will you just get in the limousine? We have Diet Coke in there.
I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers about it too, where it's like Reagan was losing his little dementiated ass in the White House, and Nancy just sort of made some calls. You know?
Well, and we don't talk about fucking when Eleanor Roosevelt was basically running the White House. I meant Edith Wilson.
Or JFK's not so much a cognizant or a mental thing, but more like, FDR, where it's like JFK was suffering from, I don't remember what the condition
Bright's, I believe.
Bright's disease or whatever the hell.
JFK actually suffered from Addison's disease.
He was out of commission at certain points, and people just covered. The fact is that let's not impose these sort of superhuman ideals of and power upon what is generally an old fucking man in a suit that had a bunch of people tick his name on a box. They're just as prone to the same flaws and lapses as anyone else. But the blatant hypocrisy of, again, 4 years of, oh, Donald Trump is a drooling simpleton that has no idea where he is or what's going on. And then Joe Biden calls one of the Supreme Court justices mom in the middle of it.
Joe starts talking.
I don't want to go to school today, Mr. President. No, I'm not going.
What else do we have?
How is this Hunter Biden's fault, though? I haven't heard that yet.
Well, because Hunter Biden smoked the crack instead of giving it to the Loa.
Of course.
Mutant wolves roaming Chernobyl exclusion zone have developed cancer-resilient abilities.
Finally, the story I was waiting for.
Dude, this is complete bullshit. Because I've been saying, I say for fucking years that if I go to Chernobyl, I'm going to get fucking X-Men powers. And you're like, no, you're just going to fucking die. And now look at that. The wolves have the X-Men powers.
Just whenever
the wolves have the fucking powers.
When you think it's all over, we bounce back. All right? Life finds a way. I have loved this because it tells me, and it's not like I really doubted this. I knew this somewhere in my head, but I always love the reminder that humans could totally fuck up and obliterate as much life as we potentially could possible on this earth. And somehow something by the end of it is going to be alive and better than fucking ever. There is no hope. The only thing is that humans might get fucked up. But even then, I'm sure that when all of this is over, there are going to be some insane mutant descendants of humanity worshiping two things: the Totemic Amphibious Spirits of the water as elucidated by the Necronomicon physics, and then the fucking Chernobyl wolves.
Damn, dude, it took a second, but you got there.
You really got there. And there was was
Do you
too
guys
far.
do you guys like this ongoing bit about the Totemic Amphibious Spirits of the water as elucidated in the Necronomicon physics? Or
It's
is
not a
the-
bit.
You can tell
One,
us.
but-
You can tell us on Patreon if you think that bit is too long and meandering.
But no, for real. I mean, honestly, I want to go. If we're talking about silly, absurdist magic, I want to go build a Chernobyl wolf shrine now because that seems like somebody. That's a spirit you want on your side. You
What
know
if you
what
could
I mean?
tame a Chernobyl wolf?
Oh, I wouldn't. I'd ask to join.
I'm part of the
I
pack
wanted to
now.
untame me.
What have you been raised by? What were you raised by wolves? No, but I'm really trying to get in.
I'm trying
These
my
guys
best,
know
man.
what's
They're
up.
Not letting me.
Yeah, I'm trying.
They won't
I'm
budge.
trying to keep up. It's sort of a reverse Tarzan situation. It just got bite marks all over. I'm
But you're
hoping
cancer-free.
I'm hoping the irradiated wolves kind of spread their power to me a little bit. You know, like a sort of a Peter Parker. But you know, who knows? I know. Then I'm just right now. I'm just happy to be alive and breathing.
If you guys like these long rendering bits, head over to Patreon.
Head over to Patreon where we've got hours and hours of cut jokes.
Oh God. No, we don't. Don't join the Patreon for that extra content. We do have very good extra content.
3 solid hours of stuff that we said cut that. Please cut that. Don't put that in this episode.
No. Unless rip roar news, an Oklahoma judge was accused of sending over 500 texts during a murder trial. Now she's stepping down.
What?
An Oklahoma judge stepped down Friday after allegedly exchanging more than 500 texts with a bailiff in which she mocked trial participants and talked offensively about the state attorneys while she presided over a June murder trial.
So just being like incredibly unprofessional.
So Bestie can't vent or what?
Not to the
Yeah, right.
bailiff.
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
like,
I guess that's the thing is that it's very human. It's just like we all talk shit. Or I mean, I don't. I'm really nice actually. I'm a nice guy. I don't talk shit about anybody, especially behind their back. Hey, Kennedy. Garrett smells. That's why I put him behind the glass.
I've been dealing with my smell for the last week. You bring this to my attention.
Did you really?
It's hilarious. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on.
Oh,
I'll tell you
boy.
later.
If you want to hear that story, go over to our Patreon.
no, stop telling them that. We've had a Patreon for 1 month, and you
And
just
we
keep-
got so many
No,
stories
we
now.
don't.
We
We
have
don't
so
get
much,
anything.
So
guys,
much
it's on-
content.
We have so
No.
much on there. We have more. We put more content than we have in this year of doing the show.
Do
on
you
the
want to take
Patreon right
Parasocial
now.
to the next level? Join
Oh
the
my
Patreon.
God.
Get a pair of socials.
Get a Parasocial.
That joke doesn't work either. Just
Okay.
stop. Everyone stop.
Okay, no, but people talk shit. People vent, people say something. Like, I understand that it's in the criminal justice system. You have really got to be on your P's and Q's and looking professional and everything like that. But I understand, like, stuff like this is just going to happen.
Lincoln County District Judge Tracy Soderstrom agreed to resign as part of a settlement with the state after it accused her of inappropriate conduct on the bench and petitioned for her removal from office. She had held the position in the 23rd Judicial District of Oklahoma since January 2023.
23, damn.
A petition filed in October cited text exchanges in which Soderstrom made fun of attorneys, jurors, and witnesses. Let's see what sort of terrible things she might have said.
Oh, nice suspenders, jackass.
You know what I just realized though?
Are they like really?
She's
are
supposed to
these
be
actually-
unbiased. I guess that's why this is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but-
okay, yeah, that's probably a.
But
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't know. But do you think saying stuff like this actually constitutes a breach of like legal impartiality? Because I don't think this is fair necessarily. They said one of the district attorneys was sweating through his coat. Another, she commented, "Why does he have baby hands? They are so weird looking." Praising the defense attorney, the judge texted, "She's awesome." Soderstrom later asked, "Can I clap for her?" She also texted the bailiff that a police officer who took the stand was pretty, adding, "I could look at him all day." See, none of this Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay, Soderstrom in another message used an expletive to call one video played to a witness boring.
What, like fucking boring?
Speculated whether one of the jurors was wearing a wig and opined that due to a lack of DNA evidence against the defendant, there would be no way they can get guilty on murder, according to the petition. See, that last one is the one moment where I say, all right, that's starting to sound a little...
I really,
But even then, it sort of sounds more like...
This is, I think you should leave sketch.
I struggle with this thing because like this seems like this weird toss up of like how many judges thought shit like that and just didn't or how many judges texted shit like that and just didn't get caught. This feels like sort of a thing that humans do. None of these seem that fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm not
I don't
super
know
impressed
what,
by anything
I don't know
she
what,
said. It doesn't
again,
seem
maybe this
like-
goes back to what I said earlier. What superhuman, unbiased qualities are we supposed to be putting on judges where we think that like they look at everything impartially? No, they don't. There's a study that judges are more likely to hand out harsh sentences before lunch because they're hungry. Like
That's why I always ask for late court dates.
yeah, you need to get your trial around 2:00.
I need to get my trial at like 6:00. That way, like...
No, because then he's gonna wait. He's waiting for dinner.
No, I'm
Yeah,
going to
he's
bring
got
him
his
dinner.
table ready.
You're
for
gonna
him.
bring him.
If you bring the
a
judge Chinese
if
takeout, you
bring-
automatically get off.
I'm pretty sure you get another charge.
That's bribery.
for
bribery?
trying to. He's gonna be like, "Is that a sweet and sour chicken?" Well, you hand that over, and then you're also guilty.
He goes, it's a parking
You're-
ticket.
you're-
What the fuck?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. It's like judges are fucking human. And it's like, I don't have to agree or particularly like that a judge behaves and says and thinks like that. But I just know that there's 500 million of them that have probably done the same, if not worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are people and they're flawed. None of the things in there were that bad.
No.
Baby hands is kind of funny.
Baby hands is real
Why you
funny.
got baby hands?
Why they got baby hands?
Why do they have baby hands? They're so weird. It's like, what kind of fucking Diablo Cody fucking dialogue is that?
That's just like internal monologuing outwardly. Like,
Yeah.
Why is that juror wearing a wig? How long has this judge been on the bench is the bigger question.
They've been in that position since January of last year.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a whole year of them doing this shit, which means they probably got like enough material that they could turn this into like a sitcom based on being a judge.
Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Wait, that's just night
like
court.
loads of
She should go right for night court.
Maybe there's just loads and loads of judges who saw this and they're like, what the absolute fuck is wrong with you?
And then there's probably plenty of them going, I need to delete my messages. Thank God I use Telegram.
Did the bailiff just turn on her or what?
I don't know. It didn't say that.
Just like,
you imagine that? Oh, that's real fucked up. Because then G is right. Like, bestie can't vent. Like, I can't just be talking to my homie. It's like, we're not friends. I have not liked you the entire time we've been working together.
bailiff just texted
Tracy.
initially, like, how'd you even get my number? And she's like, why does dude got baby hands? Again, this is my work phone.
He doesn't
should
even know
not
it's
be-
her.
I was like, who the fuck?
Which one of
Only
who
way
are
like,
you?
Yeah, only way later does he put it together. It's like,
Oh, that's Judge Soderstrom. I should report
I'm
this.
gonna report this. Yeah, you're
I thought that was Wendy. You know, I thought
thought
she
that
was
was
taking a
the
break from the
stenographer or
cafeteria.
I was just thinking it's like shit, this stenographer is on fire today.
She can type that fast and text me. Fuck.
That's crazy.
The PSYOP situation sounds like this is just a reason to get rid of her, though.
Yeah, that's another thing. It could totally be. But they said that this was part of a settlement of some kind. So somebody brought this to their attention where they were like, hey, your judge is a fucking wackadoo and you need to cut this shit out, fam.
Hmm.
Plus, PSYOP that's an X-Men, and we already talked about X-Men. With the mutant.
Did you hear about the, what's the fucking dark voiced blonde lady? She's going to prison for 11 years for that fake blood shit. Blonde blood bitch. I'm gonna search it up.
Wait. You're talking about the...
Yeah.
Oh, God, what's her name? The
Yeah.
got a weird rat nest hair,
11
always wearing a
years.
turtleneck.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Faked all this technology for blood tests. Yeah, no, because we talked about her on the show too, where it was like she They gave her like 2-3 months at least that. It might have been longer, but like for her to get her affairs in order before they threw her in the slammer. And it's like, and we were talking about how
absolutely. It's
the
absolutely
wealthy and the
classist
quote unquote
that they allowed
elite
that.
have just a complete different set of operating rules. Cause like if I couldn't pay my fucking parking ticket and they're like, all right, you're going to spend 30 in the county. You better relinquish yourself right now. Hit you over the head with a nightstick.
Yep.
And then the judge's going to talk shit about me because I got baby hands. Wasn't that a hot minute ago, though? Because like I said, I swear
No, she just turned herself in today.
Oh, she just finally went in for it. That's what we were talking about. How long ago did we talk about that shit? She's been
like
out this whole fucking
year?
time. Yeah,
What the absolute fuck?
Oh, guys, I'm
This
so
is what I'm
fucking
talking about.
stupid.
This is
I
what I'm
don't know where I guess I read an old post today. I thought it was today. I'm sorry. It was 8 months ago, I think. I swear that's not a joke. I just really thought that happened today. I thought I was interjecting. I didn't mean to do that.
Okay, so cut that. You're gonna cut this, and you're gonna just cut to. Oh, I'm sorry, that's like 8 months ago. This wouldn't happen if we were Chernobyl wolves.
Stress is a key factor driving some teens to drugs and alcohol, CDC study warns.
No shit.
Fucking wow.
What?
Y'all needed a whole study for that shit?
You mean life is hard and people try to self-medicate when they're going through stuff? Shit, that's crazy. I never heard of that before.
Absolutely abysmal that the CDC has money to make studies like that.
I'm really mad.
Like, I know there's probably plenty of people listening to this going like, no, this is an important study. Like, no, it's fucking not.
Man,
there's nothing fucking positive about why do we
like, you sound stressed, all right? Do you want some Robitussin? Like a whole bottle of Robitussin? You want to drink like a whole bottle? 2 bottles of Robitussin? It'll make you feel better. You won't be so stressed. What else you got?
Oh my god.
Lightning round, lightning round, lightning round.
Let's see. We got sexual desire dropped for many women after the pandemic hit. Here's what you can do. Stress kills sex. So don't be stressed. So
drink a bunch of Robitussin.
Drink a bunch of Robitussin.
Wait. Okay. So are you saying that women have less sexual desire or people have less sexual desire for women?
This is about women struggling to get back sexual desire.
Women just don't want to fuck after the pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's because you used up all your fucking during the pandemic. Because you ran out of shit to do to begin with. You're like, all right, I'm just going to fuck.
You know, just spending all that alone. No, that's my problem, though, is like, I've got such a skewed view of the man. I don't know. I'm low key tired of hearing about stuff from before the pandemic. It's like, before the pandemic, and it's like that was like 3, almost 4 years ago. Just stop. I'm tired of hearing about it. This wasn't like this wasn't a recent fucking development.
Dr. Justin LeMiller, a research fellow at the Kinsey Institute at Indiana University. It makes sense that people experienced a lot of difficulties during this time because you had these major life disruptions that didn't necessarily go away when the world reopened. Like, fucking, again, like, you spent money on this shit. Someone was paid. This fucker with his sex and psychology podcast was paid to be like, yeah, man, you know, it shit really sucks. I don't think this really counts as like the pandemic's fault, though. What he's just saying is that life has gotten harder and more fucked up for most of us, and it's making it more difficult to fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard to find the energy to fuck when you're in a constant state of agitation, stress, and terror. That's why you gotta. It's why you just. I'm sure, like, you know, we can fix it by like just people meditating.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know what? Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Everybody just do like tantric sex, and you can meditate and you can have the sex at the same time.
That way, you're more
everything
efficient.
will be fine. That way, you can go
8
back
hours
to being
of sleep, so that you can get up and go to work.
Yeah, you know where I was going with this, like a joke about productivity and stuff.
Like, if we could just have tantric sex for about 5 minutes a day, I can keep my focus and my mindfulness practice. That way, I can be a better worker when I go down to the discount armory that I work at, where I sell guns to school children.
Well, the good news is that the Chernobyl wolves won't have to put up with this.
No. Oh, God. Do you want to hear more advice as to how to fix your sex life? after the pandemic? Because this is an awesome quote I'm seeing.
All right.
All right. That feeling at the beginning of a relationship when the desire is on fire all the time is actually an anomaly in the world of sexuality, and it's okay if you have to change your approach as a relationship goes on. Many people, particularly women, tend to experience what is called responsive arousal as opposed to spontaneous arousal, she said. If you want to have sex on Saturday, start foreplay on Wednesday. Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't. Whatever. People do whatever works for them, and I understand that no two relationships are alike, and I don't want to fault this. I'm sure that there's some useful things in all of this sex psychology and stuff. I just don't. I don't care. I don't even mean this to sound crass, but it's like it's not an issue in my relationship. So like, I don't know. What the fuck am I supposed to say to this?
The research has shown that 30% of women experienced pain the last time they had sex, which is a really mind-boggling number.
It's because I keep pinching you. Keep going honk honk.
No, this is the part that gets me. If you're experiencing pain during sex, it makes zero sense to crave it.
There are people that are into pain during sex.
Yeah. I don't
didn't think about that, Mr. Sex Psychologist, expert. I got a fucking degree. Yeah, you didn't think about that, did you?
A lot of people who dealt with our sexual difficulties just by avoiding sex, because sometimes it's easier to just not do it and not talk about it than it is to have those difficult conversations.
This isn't news. I'm so done with you're like, what? Just cut all of this. This is trash. This is trash, and you're like, you spent so much time reading this, and it's nothing. It's trash. It's garbage. Were you looking for advice? Are you having problems? Go talk to an expert. Don't talk about it on this podcast.
Do we need a parrot headline?
This is trash. This whole episode is gone off the rails.
What do you want me to fucking do, man?
Bring back the wolves. Tell me more about the wolves. Tell me one exciting fact about the Chernobyl wolves, and then we'll move on. G, you want to hear more about the Chernobyl wolves?
I would love nothing more than to hear about the Chernobyl wolves.
That's it. That's what the people want. People want to hear about wolves at Chernobyl. Wolves at Chernobyl. Wolves at Chernobyl. Wolves at Chernobyl.
Oh my God.
Gee, come on, help me out. Wolves at Chernobyl. Wolves at
Nearly
Chernobyl.
38 years since the nuclear disaster, wildlife has
I got a
reclaimed
calendar,
the area.
motherfucker. Tell me something cool about them.
So aggressive.
Tell me something else.
In 2014, Love and her colleagues went inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone and put GPS collars equipped with radiation dosimeters on the wild wolves. They took blood from the animals to understand their response to the cancer-causing radiation, according to a release published by the Society of Integrative Comparative Biology. They learned that the wolves are exposed to 11.28 millirem of radiation daily to their lifespan, more than 6 times the legal safety limit for humans. The Chernobyl wolves' immune systems appear different than normal wolves, similar to those of cancer patients going through radiation treatment, the researchers found.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the Chernobyl wolves can take at a on average 6 times the amount of radiation that we let people have.
Yes.
Legally.
Mm-hmm.
Out fucking standing. All right. So you're telling me that this wolf is 6 times as strong as a person?
No,
That's what I heard.
So you're telling me
they have 6 times the durability of a man.
Unfortunately, Love's work has stalled somewhat as she and her colleagues have been unable to return to the Chernobyl exclusion zone. First due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and now due to the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine.
Okay, end the war so that we can get back to studying these fucking wolves. Because if we don't study them, they're going to get too strong. Then they're going to end the war for us.
Yeah.
All right. These wolves are 6 times stronger than a man, so they could probably rip through a tank.
Yeah, that sounds factually correct and accurate.
Great, guys. You got some fantastic news. Now, I know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah. 6 times the amount.
6 times more.
That's so much.
This episode's so fucked. Why do we even do this podcast? It's the worst fucking
Is this the
decision of my
first
life.
time we're going to have to give like an honest to God do-over on an episode? This one feels really off the rails.
I don't know. We should just give up on doing the podcast because we've never been good at it and no one likes
You
it.
better fucking stop with all those words. This shit's
I'm not
awesome.
trying to hear your pity party. I'm just being very realistic.
Well, you know
about
what?
it.
I just think that maybe if you had taken this podcast more seriously early on, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Blaming me for this.
Yeah,
Oh boy, we're
I
back
just-
to that crutch.
I don't think it's a crutch. I think it's a real observation that the podcast would work better if you actually gave a shit.
I
and you
mean,
don't.
okay, that's great.
You know, it's like, you know what you do for the podcast? You show up and you give me content and you come up with episode ideas and you make material and you really make the episodes work. But like, is that really doing anything for the
Is that
podcast?
is that actually helping?
Is like making the podcast actually helping the podcast?
It's like that
no,
thing where
no,
you
it's
know-
not, because what's going to help the podcast is getting lots and lots of people on Patreon. And all you do is keep telling them that there's stuff on the Patreon that isn't actually there.
I mean, like,
You've derailed this episode so many times. You just keep yelling about wolves. How are we supposed to bring this episode back together at this point?
Okay, I could claim to be internet drama sensation Keemstar.
No,
I did.
no,
I'm
no.
sorry, that's another thing.
I think I might know. Is it what's in the news?
No, we did that already, and it was really bad.
It might have been the worst news segment we've done yet.
I feel like we had some good opinions.
No,
like,
I think that
we
whole
started
thing was
really well,
No, I
'cause
think
we were
that I don't
focused-
think we did.
we focused in on like a couple good news stories. And
I
then,
don't think
like,
we did.
biffed it. Then we totally fucking biffed it.
I think we definitely biffed it, but I think when we biffed it is a much earlier than you actually imagine.
Okay. How's the work?
All right, Sonny, I know how we're gonna get this show back on the road. Let me tell you something about what I know
I'm
about
gonna
ribs.
ask you to stop. I'm gonna ask you to actually stop for a minute. Can everyone just take a deep breath? Let it out. So, given that this episode has already gone off the rails, how could we possibly make it even worse and somehow keep the show going?
We could have another round of Fringe or Cringe.
There we go. That's how we save it. If we just name the segments, we can act like we planned it.
We did.
Oh yeah.
For those of you who don't know, because we've only done this section one other time, in this segment, we take a handful of sort of lightning round on a particular subject matter and just sort of rattle off, hey, here's the basic gist of this, and we rank it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being totally fucking cringe, 10 being totally, fringe, as in like, out there wild, but in a good way.
Did we rank it on numbers? I thought we just said if it was fringe or cringe.
No, we did like a 1. I think we did like a 1 through 5 or a 1 through 10.
Oh, shit. Okay. That's
I'm
fine.
saying we'll do it like, 1 being this is awful, cringy nonsense, and we can do, and then like a 10 being this is totally out there and I love it for how
All right.
oddball it is.
All right. That sounds good.
This week, we are going to take a look at what we think are some slightly more obscure cults.
Yeah, I know you're all disappointed. You're like, oh, why aren't you doing Heaven's Gate or Am Shinriko or the Anthill Boys or whatever?
Wait. The guy, damn it, never mind. I was going to make a Pet Shop Boys joke, but I just told,
You couldn't think of a Pet Shop
totally
Boys song?
fucking choked.
Yeah, fuck the Go West, my son guys.
Yeah.
The West
Thank
End
you.
girls.
That was the one I was fucking thinking of too. And I'm just like, what is it? And I'm singing the song in my head, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We wanted to take some of the more slightly obscure, but also ones that had more spooky woo-woo than just like kooky. Because there's
You can find a cult for
you can
people
find
just going like, I'm Jesus, like every 5 fucking seconds. It's not
there's
hard.
always cults where it's like, oh, we do whatever Earl tells us to do.
Yeah,
because
he's
he
the
says
big
he speaks
spooky
for
so
God.
and so, and
Yeah.
he says I gotta have sex with him, and then my daughter's gotta have sex with him because I'm a fucking big spooky.
And don't get me wrong, that's all, that's most of these cults too, but still there's at least a little more in the realm of like, this is some stuff that I've heard people talk about before as far as like their kooky beliefs. First up, we've got the Order of the Solar Temple, also known as the International Chivalric Order of the Solar Tradition, or just the Solar Temple. They were an esoteric religious group, often described as a cult. They, they're not the same thing, but
Often
one often
described
leads to the
as.
other. They were founded by Luc Jarret and Joseph de Mombro in 1984 Switzerland. This is essentially like if the OTO went really left of field and stuff started getting really real dodgy. De Mombro was actually involved with some facet of the OTO in like the 60s.
Yeah, like a reconstruction.
Yeah,
of it.
that sort of thing. So there's definitely like some Western tradition influence. They claim to be part of the Knights Templar. They claim to be like Rosicrucians.
Oh,
and
who doesn't?
They're doing sex alchemy and lodge stuff. And apparently they were. Now I read this where they said that supposedly they used like holograms and stuff like that. And I'm thinking like in the 80s, 90s, like, nah.
Like,
I bet
like the shitty fucking 3D glasses.
But like they said they were using like all sorts of weird stage theatrics during initiations to like trick people into thinking. And I'm thinking like maybe they just knew the highlights to hit, because to give somebody a magical experience where they see like visions and shit is not that hard. But like maybe they were just good at it, and so they were like, it had to be a hologram. There's no way I actually saw Jesus and the Holy Grail and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's honestly easier to just overwhelm somebody with the bells and the smells and like to make like super advanced uses I don't know, or maybe it was just like we threw a screen and had the fog machine going. I just turned on the projector and then it was the dude on the cross. Wow, he's out. It starts off very much like lodge magic, but also like they're trying to make money. It's like, hey, buy this silver chalice for the initiation ritual and all these robes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then also pay us the initiation fee, and then you get to be part of the outer circle, and then you get to be part of the inner belly button if you play your cards right.
Right, and Franco-Swiss conductor Michel Tabachnik.
Tobacconist.
He's a conductor and a promoter of art, and he got involved in this, though later he gets acquitted of any of the really creepy stuff that happens later. But if I'm reading this correctly, it sounds like he was actually a very big esoteric person, so he got very drawn in to this. And then he ended up writing stuff for them because he had a big esoteric library that he got from his father. Which is kind of interesting when you think about like cult leaders building up this kind of weird order and stuff, and then finding a guy who's like, hey, you're really good at this. Could you just like do the shit for me? Because one of them's like a homeopath or something, right? He's not even like a particularly like
honestly, it's kind
type.
It's kind of the Adam Weishaupt thing where it's like, hey, we're starting this Illuminati order thing like that, and it's like, we want you to join, and it's like, well, what are the higher degrees you haven't studied? It's like, okay, listen, we haven't actually made any yet. Do you want to help us write them? I completely glossed over the fact that de Mombro claimed that there was going to be a cosmic child king that was going to rule the coming aeon.
Classic cult move is saying that we're gonna have a really badass baby in
and
like
then
20 years.
Not even, because then it was like this was before the order was actually founded.
Oh no.
And then it's like this lady that he was fucking. He claimed that like she got like, virgin married, but he was just fucking her. Just said, oh yeah, that's my son, and he is the cosmic.
He's the new
Jesus
solar
boy.
Christ, yeah,
he's the Jesus boy.
There's a list here of like their what their goals were.
Yeah. It's stuff like reestablish knowledge and of authority and power, affirm the primacy of spirit, the return of Christ in solar glory. It's like, assumption. Participants in the assumption of the earth. Like, who cares? This is like very standard stuff. It isn't like reawaken your 5-dimensional DNA or anything. This is like stuff that you'd imagine you could hear from any sort of lodge.
This is the kind of shit that like Western esotericists were into.
Yeah. This is honestly, it's all of the hallmarks of Western tradition stuff, as particularly like high ceremonial shit. Just like things really go afield because people start talking about cosmic baby and then murder suicide.
Oh, is that where this leads?
Yeah, that's the real crux of this. First disagreements start where people start arguing over the stage magic stuff that I was hinting at earlier, saying like you're doing, which I think that honestly, a certain bit of theatric and stage in a ceremony can be beneficial. Like, I understand that when you're trying to trick somebody into thinking like God's saying, give this guy more money with like stage magic, that's kind of fucked, which I think is sort of what was going on. People start asking for money back, money starts disappearing, you know, like all the sorts of stuff that happens with cults when there's a lot of people involved. People, this person wants to be paid back, this person gives up their job, that sort of thing. In the meanwhile, old buddy Demambro is still like on some magic baby, and then he starts talking about this. He starts talking about Sirius, which again, Western traditions.
As always, we come back to Sirius.
Yeah. But then it's with the twist of kind of like the Heaven's Gate, where it's like, okay, we need to transfer our souls back to the Sirius system. So how are you going to do that? Oh,
kill yourself.
And they're like, well, wait,
Wait, because this is YouTube. We're going to have to censor that. You have to exit the game in Fortnite.
But it's no, because it goes even weirder. Because at first they're like, all right, I know not everyone is going to be on board with this. So first we have to kill people that are not going to be on board with this. The people that have betrayed our principle.
Oh, that's even better. You love it when you're like, hey, look, we know not everyone is going to be willing to do this. So make sure you get the ones that are not going to be willing to do this first.
Then kill the people who are kind of on board with the idea of this great spiritual transition, but don't know about killing themselves because they're kind of cool, but they're not. We got to help them along. And then finally, we'll all just kill ourselves. So it's like everybody's got to die. It's just in the stages of like who does what, right? And this happens over a period of about like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's massive too. It's like, and I don't want to like gawk at the numbers, but it's
how many
women,
people?
Oh God. Sadly, and this is where it kind of stops being funny. All in all, 77 lives were claimed in multiple instances in 1994, 95, and 97.
Wow, so the suicides kept going. That's the part that's insane to me. That like they kept happening. That more than one of these happened.
I think the first one happened initially in Demambro and Luke Jarret, I believe, lost their lives in the first one, and then it just sort of happened, cascading.
Right.
With the last one being in March 22nd, 1997, where I guess there were like 5 holdouts. And like I said, it's actually very similar to the Heaven's Gate sort of thing where they decided they needed to transition, and then somehow there was still like the away team hanging around. Far too many people were either tricked into, and that's the other thing too, is it's like a lot of this was suicide, but then a lot of these people were murdered, killed, like did not want to die and then were killed. So it's just the worst type of tragedy where not only did a lot of people throw their lives away, but then they took other people with them, and it's just it's real unsavory. To me, what seemed to have started as like a con, a way to extract money from people, ended with 2 nutter butters throwing down their lives and taking with them. Far too many people with them. I would firmly rank this as the most cringe fucking shit.
Yeah, it is. It's not only unoriginal, like Western occult bullshit.
It's like recycled.
It was a con and not a very good one.
And then it ends with killing people.
It's got a
like
Jesus. It's cliche, and of course, and it ends with murder. And the only thing that's notable about it is just that they managed to not only get like one mass suicide, but several over a period of time.
Yeah.
And they got some minor art composer, promoter bullshit type to write them a bunch of weird esoteric stuff that ended up making him go to court because they thought he was a mastermind. And he might have been. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just, it's really a shame.
I'll give it a 2 for that. It's 2 for 2 fucking nut jobs.
And I don't want to be this guy either of like, oh, it wasn't crazy enough. I understand that this is something that cost people their lives, but in terms of like their esoteric beliefs and stuff, really is like very box standard. It's like, man, really? Just like who hasn't claimed to be a Knights Templar before?
Who didn't have a solar Jesus baby?
Yep.
I mean, really.
Gee, what do you think?
You know, I like solar babies, but this is absolutely horrendous. Yeah.
Pretty awful.
Pretty cringe.
Mega cringe, bro. Not a big fan.
You know
All
what's
right.
cringe actually is saying that mass murder is cringe.
Yeah,
That's pretty
there's not
fucking
a-
cringe.
yeah. It's just like, but it's absolute
Not a joke,
wackadoo,
yeah.
senseless behavior. It's just fucking, it's despicable.
Yeah.
But even taking the murders and the crimes out of it, it's still like, you shit's kind of cringe, bro.
No, it's incredibly cringe.
Ooh, we're the secret knights of the Rosy Cross. If you haven't claimed to be a Rosicrucian at least once, you're not
What are you doing?
not even on the path, bro.
Yeah, man.
You gotta step up your magic game.
If you're not a Luciferian, Freemason, OTO member, then, you know, the fuck you doing, Holmes? It's like you don't even know what magic is.
If you don't trace your lineage back to Atlantis, you are like a child. You are like a baby that I will kiss on your forehead. Like, you tiny.
I put you down for a nap.
Yeah. And speaking of tracing your lineage back to Atlantis,
Oh boy.
that's going to bring us to our next one. The Happy Science Cult, formerly known as
man.
the Institute for Research in Human Happiness.
All right, that just sounds like some Leary shit, though, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like some shit Leary would come up with?
Yeah, but it's actually much worse. Okay,
Worse
and it
than Leary.
begins with a man named Ryuho Okawa, that was not the name he was born with. I don't know the significance of the name, but he was Takashi Nakagawa, and then he changed his name to Ryo Okawa.
Oh well, Takashi is just like it's like being a Bill in Japan. You know what I mean? Like Bill or Bob.
All right, he was like
He was like Bob, dude, man.
he was Joe Smith, and he was like, I ain't gonna do that one.
Yeah.
There was already a Joseph Smith. My understanding is that he started as like essentially like a stockbroker, like an investment broker, you know, like a financier type guy, and it was, you know, just doing his job and all that stuff.
Stupid pencil
Yeah,
pusher.
Yeah.
Little
But
bitch.
then somewhere along, he had a divine awakening
Like you do.
where he realized that he, Ryo Okawa, was El Cantare.
It's not El Cantari like
What?
El like Spanish, is it?
That's the vibe I get, but it's E-L
Oh no.
Cantare. Yeah. All right, and for
And then he's El Cantari, like Elohim.
well, that's just the thing. El Cantare is the god above all gods, the most high one, who has been known as many different names. He was Elohim, Odin, Osiris, Hermes, Shakyamuni Booty.
Shakyamuni.
Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni. He was Shakyamuni. He was the Shakyamuni Buddha. You know, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. That Buddha. He was Thoth, who was king of Atlantis.
Ah.
So there you go, our Atlantean origins. And he was also like a billion other fuckers that are real and imaginary.
Does he give you the whole list though?
Somewhere I'd have to find it. But also remember, it's also important to note that human life began on Venus.
Of course, it's
So
always
he's
Venus.
also
he's also one of the Sun Ra people.
he's the king of Shambhala, all that stuff. You know, the Venusian kings, as elucidated by many of the
Ascended
esoteric, ascended masters and everything else. You know, so when he had this realization, he set about letting everyone know and gathering followers.
I'm
Like, guys,
El
listen.
Cantari.
I don't want to. I am El Cantare, and you guys just need to
Get down with that.
get down with it. You need to understand my teachings, and
oh, no. What are those teachings?
you just got to be like a really good person all the time. The fourfold path as opposed to the eightfold path, which is just he
just
cut
simplified
through-
that
He
shit.
just cut it in half and was like, "Yeah, look. Some of this is unnecessary.
What is the fourfold path? Does it say?
Love gives wisdom, self-reflection, and progress. That is the main principle. I don't really get. Look,
Yeah.
This sounds like
get
something got lost in translation.
Yeah,
No, it
probably.
makes sense.
Look, the whole point is to express infinite gratitude, always have positive thoughts, and give El Cantare a lot of worship and a lot of money.
Oh,
Just
really?
Be a cool
Yeah.
guy and give me your wallet.
Yeah. Just do whatever
Here's
you
my
can.
PayPal. Be a fan.
join the Patreon.
You must take a great many of the seminars and courses to raise your ranking in the group. And you do that by giving them a bunch of money.
Yeah, this is some Scientology.
Yeah, it's
type
very
shit.
much like
Got
some
it.
Scientology. They also have like a political party that is seeking to gain more influence.
Of course.
And they say like, man, what is the best, what's going to really do the most to bring about love, compassion, and happiness for everybody? Japanese military expansion.
Oh!
You know what else helps? Just deny historic massacres that the Japanese government has committed.
Oh, of course.
You know, that sort of thing. Fiscal and social conservatism. Strengthening the U.S.-Japan alliance. So that's...
Man, how come cult leaders are always so bitch made? They only have 2 modes. They either have like full-blown hedonist mode, where they're just like, I'm going to fuck everyone and everything, or they're like, hey, you know what would be really great? Like bringing back traditional fucking families. Like those are the 2 options of cult leader. You're either a Mormon or you're what's that shit? The sex cult that the Smallville chick was in.
Oh God! Oh no!
Like those are your 2 modes. Those are cults.
Rio has also has some connection to like seances and spiritualism, or at least like pretending that he does, because he does like spirit interviews where he calls up like, I'm Nelson Mandela now.
Oh,
Don't ignore the fact that I'm doing this in Japanese and everything. You know, it's like that sort of stuff. He also has a connection somehow to the Thomas Edison spirit phone, where it's like, I guess he made one that like worked or something like that.
This guy
But here's the
fucks,
big
dude.
a couple notable things. One, he has enough influence that he has created or led to the creation of animation houses and studios, because there are something like 9 different movies made by the Happy Science cult.
9?
Expressing either just like movies that are like, here's the secret history of the world, and we're going to talk to you about how Thoth used advanced mind and spiritual technologies to fight wars in ancient fucking Samaria or whatever the fuck, or like this incarnation of the Buddha and Elohim. This is what happened when Osiris was here, but it's all the same guy reincarnating and that sort of stuff. Or like there's one where it's like some friends figure out the Thomas Edison spirit phone and they make contact with like a spirit that guides them divine comedy style through the multi-layer heaven of Happy Science beliefs.
No
shit. Yeah. And Einstein and Michelangelo are there, and Jesus is there, and Thomas Edison, of course, is there. Thomas Edison. Like, what? You telling any group that's telling me Thomas Edison is in heaven, I've already got some questions. And explaining like the spiritual hierarchies and how you get higher up in the ranks. And it doesn't say, oh, you have to take a bunch of Ryuo's courses and give him money. It's like you have to like pray harder and think happy thoughts. And it's like Tinkerbell, where if you don't think happy thoughts, you fall. And I don't know, I can't remember if they showed hell or not, but I will plug somebody else, because if you just want to know about the dumb anime movies, Mother's Basement on YouTube did like 4 fucking videos that broke it all down.
Oh my
It's crazy.
God.
But then after a while, they realized that they get bored, or that people get really bored by just hearing like what is essentially a movie version of like a Sunday school thing for your crazy fucking religion. So instead,
Yeah, that's why Prince of Egypt failed.
a lot of people like that, man. Anyway,
Yeah, they're fucking idiots.
Look. So instead, they start doing like World War III movies, where it's like, oh, this is like a horrible pandemic has broken out, or like this country is about to go with war. But the main characters are all like
Happy scientists.
a happy science people, and then like Ryuho shows up as like or like it'll show like this is a future coming incarnation of the solar baby Elohim.
So this is
type
literally
shit.
just this guy's religious fan fiction that he got to make actual movies out of.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty lit.
It's great in the idea of like, this is anime movies made by cults. This is fucking insane. But like, remember, these are horrible people. They sold spiritual vaccines that they claimed would prevent COVID-19 during like the heights of the pandemic.
Oh, that's awesome.
They,
How come no one's talking about the vaccine fraud with those motherfuckers?
Yeah, that's a big... People just
Me busting up
a
into
notable-
Japanese courthouse with a shirt that says the vaccine was a fraud. But I mean the one from the Happy Science people specifically. We need a
they
big
had
shirt for this.
because of the timing that they came up. They actually had beef with Shinrikyo because it's like, no, we're gonna be the crazy Japanese cult, and Shinrikyo were like, we're not playing that shit. We're just gonna. They literally just tried to kill the guy, and it didn't work because he was too powerful. No play. I guess it just failed because they're all fucking nuts.
They're incredibly incompetent.
They tried to put nerve gas in his car's air conditioning system.
Well, they've had great luck with that.
They
didn't get some new material. They had nerve gas twice.
Yeah.
That's why they lost. Like, nope, I saw that one.
Okawa's son has gone on the record as like having broken away and saying that my dad is a complete lunatic who is making all this nonsense up, and he's an asshole, and you shouldn't listen to him, and he's just manipulating.
Wait, is he saying his dad's completely insane, or is he saying his dad's like a con man?
He's saying his dad is like a con artist who
like this is actually, he has made all of this shit up.
It's lies and stupid, and Okawa has responded by saying, my son is possessed by devils. Because demons and angels and all that.
Hey, you know what? I was questioning it, but that does make sense. He would be possessed by a devil, probably.
One of the things that really made me perk up and pay attention is that in one of the dumb anime things, he does like a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram type thing where he has like a fucking sword and he's literally just drawing the pentagram to like expel demons and shit.
Oh, that's fucking lit.
Which is great.
Love that. We should steal like that scene and use it for the podcast.
But then they'll try to murder us.
Nah,
they
because
learned from the Shinrikyo.
Oh,
They're
God.
like, we gotta take them out.
It's cool. We'll just slap like an AI filter on it, make him like Spider-Man and Peter Griffin.
We'll make it into Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse.
There we go.
The one thing they can't take. Yeah, overall, Happy Science, just out of the sheer enjoyment factor of like how Looney Tunes they are and the fact that they exist, like they're in like a 7 or 8 for me. It's like they're horrible and stupid.
I can only
it's funny.
I can only give them a 5 because of like the selling fake vaccines and shit like that. You know, that sounds like I'm sure they've done some actual horrible things.
No, well, I'm trying to rank.
Right?
I'm trying to rank these like outside of like, because like I said with the solar temple, it's like they're awful. But
yeah,
also,
but even
like,
outside of the horrible things they did, they're still pretty fucking like basic.
Yeah, outside of like the
You're like, oh, check me out, I'm Amorc, but I murdered people. That's what they did.
Well, like guys, like you don't need anyone to tell you that cults are bad and killing people is bad and selling fake vaccines is bad. Like all of this is bad and horrible, and it's abhorrent, and these people should be in jail, and this Happy Science cult should be broken up and thrown to the wind. Obviously, like that goes without saying, but there's also like 9 fucking movies that are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'll give it. You know,
you can find the interview, the spirit interviews too. Man's a nut. It's like
complete sidebar, but I have to bring this up. You know, there used to be a weird political rationale for spirit talking and seances, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, because a lot of mediums were women. The big idea would be that you could get this woman who everyone assumes is probably not very smart because women aren't smart. You know, women don't, all they do is stay in the house all day. But then you would have this woman channeling someone like Aristotle or, you know, some learned figure or some ancient, you know, figure that has all this information. And they now have the authority to try and speak in this other person's voice. And it's a very empowering thing if you think about it. And but you could also see why it would lead people astray to like, I can definitely talk to Ghost. You know, like that sort of thing. This guy, on the other hand, it seems like he just wants to do it because he wants someone to be like, damn, dude, aren't you so cool, fucking Rio? Aren't you so fucking dope? I'm Thomas Edison. Forget my accent. I'm definitely, I think you're really dope, and you built my spirit phone super cool.
The one thing I will say is that Thomas Edison didn't steal the spirit phone idea from somebody else. So
yeah, well, that's why it didn't work, right?
I mean, he had to. That's why it didn't work. Yeah. That's what oh man, I was basically gonna go there, but you beat me to it. The last thing I'll say too is that it is funny that this one really does like it. The Happy Science cult seems like it has everything. It's got like the Scientology alien spirit stuff. It's got some like
Mormonism, multi-layer heaven hell.
He's
type
got his
shit.
own Ramayana shit that he just
Yeah,
wrote.
yeah, and he's got
made
all
movies
he's
out
got
of.
these epics of all the reincarnations he's been through, and then he's got like the future, like this is going to be World War III.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of shit. He's just got everything. If you pick a genre, he's made a movie for it.
I, for one, can't wait for the Netflix original that they're gonna have.
I kind of want to let you take the reins on this one. You want to talk about Brother 13?
Brother.
No, we said Brother 13. It's Brother 12.
Well, I don't
I
fuck
can't
with 12,
count.
do I?
Oh, Brother 11 and an extra.
Brother 12 or Brother XII if you refuse to bow to Roman numerals like some of us do. His actual name was Edward Arthur Wilson, which is just with a name like that, you born in like the late 1800s, you're going to be like a spooky woo-woo type. That's just how that happens.
Oh, I just realized something. He's another notable spiritual Wilson.
Yeah, but maybe not
Peter Lambor Wilson, Robert Anton Wilson, Colin, no middle name Wilson, and Edward Arthur Wilson. I'm saying he's a good guy, and you should listen to everything.
Mr. Wilson here was born in England into a very religious family and claimed, obviously, in his childhood that he was visited by angels because that's what you do when you are a spooky person. So he went traveling the world as a mariner and studied world religions according to his own account. And he thought he was going to have a destiny that he knew was going to come upon him. It was revealed in a vision in France. And then he quickly got a following, including a group of wealthy, socially prominent individuals.
Awfully convenient.
Yep. He took the name Brother 12 and he established the Aquarian Foundation in 1927. Their beliefs were basically theosophy. He published 2 booklets, which were just saying, hey, these are my awesome ideas. And you know what you could do? You could give me money so I can build a colony.
Okay. So he builds a colony. He's going to like just break away from society where it's like, look, all y'all are idiots.
Make a compound.
We're going to build a compound. Or was it like he's going to go to he's going to do like another country?
No, he just wants to set up a little compound for people to live in. It's basically trying to create a self-sufficient community. Your typical kind of
village.
Jonestown.
Little Jonestown. And it was mostly financed by a wealthy socialite named Mary Connolly. Mary Connolly.
Take the crucifix, leave the cannoli.
Isn't that wild? People just have money to like build towns.
Somebody's going to get Elon's ear and then they're going to have like a Teslaville built.
He also got a lot of donations because he went around as a political activist supporting Democratic Senator from Alabama, James Thomas Heflin, who ultimately supported Herbert Hoover. Right back to that joke. An insurrection developed within the ranks of his colony when critics claimed that he said he was the Egyptian god Osiris.
Okay, that's a normal maneuver. Eventually, you're going to claim to be a god.
As one would do, yeah.
Okawa got right in front of it, and he claimed to be like most of them.
Yeah.
Or at least all the really good ones.
See, Brother 12 goes the other path out of that, where he says, no, that was a metaphor. Which are the two things you can... When you claim to be a god, you either have to double down and say that you're all the cool gods, or you have to say, that was a metaphor.
No. Honestly, in a way, that is probably one of the more realistic answers you'll get from spiritual teachers. They're like, no. I didn't mean that like... I did not mean that literally. I'm talking about like we're all Osiris. Man is Osiris. That's the point.
Well, it didn't work anyway because not only were they mad about him saying that he was Osiris, but they're also really mad about him using all of the money to do whatever he wants and fucking around.
Well, in his defense, he is Osiris.
He was Osiris, and
I metaphorically spent all this money.
I metaphorically fucked this person that is my soulmate, he says. So the funny part about this, I think, is that the Aquarian Foundation legally dissolved in 1929, which means that it existed for like 2 years. But also, you don't very often hear about like cult organizations just being like, oh, sorry, we spent all the money. Usually they go in too deep and they have to take the Heaven's Gate out.
Well, I mean, so far he's doing better than Happy Science is still going strong, so I guess I don't know what it's gonna look like at the bloody end of that, but it's probably not gonna be fucking
Who
pretty.
knows? Probably
But,
the same way the Moonies are gonna go.
Ugh.
But so
So what happens? He files
gets-
chapter
he-
11 and he's like, all right, money gone.
Yeah. Well, and what would you do if you think about that kind of situation where you're in, where you had essentially like a compound and a group of people supporting you, and then it all kind of falls out from under you? What do?
I would I'd
down.
take anything that wasn't nailed down and just get out of Dodge.
Close. Instead, he started piling up gold.
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay, so G was right. So he doubled down. Where was he getting the gold?
I mean, he just was taking anything he could find. You're both right.
Okay.
He
Taking
got
copper,
really
then
paranoid
fucking-
and scared
yeah.
and was like, they're gonna get me. They're gonna get me. So he put himself on a fucking island, which I think the compound was on an island.
So he goes to like a different island, like a smaller island.
No, I think everyone else
fucking
left, and
Gilligan
he's
on
the
the
only
island
one.
shit.
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
He said, "Oh
This is
yeah,
the
get
Brothers
out!
12
Oh yeah,
Island.
go! Oh yeah, get the hell out!
None of you are gonna be a part of my Ocean's 12.
That's
None of
Sling
y'all
Blade
are
shit.
Osiris. None of you are figuratively Osiris, and get the hell on."
His mistress that he was cheating on his wife with, that caused part of this problem, who goes by Madam Z, which is like, Brother 12 and Madam Z. Like, you tell me those are like the people that I'm gonna they're gonna be part of my fucking colony.
And this was in like the 1920s, right?
yeah.
God, this is ahead of its time in terms of sick fucking names.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe like there's like some, like I could see some pulp novels being written.
So she kind of
The
was
Island of Brother 12.
So Madam Z kind of just worked over all the members all the time. She had
Oh,
one
yeah.
man imprisoned in a cellar.
Oh, no. That's awful.
Like in a hot way, or
Yeah, was he like
I think
into it?
I think she was just keeping him in the cellar, but he managed to escape and he went to go tell the police, who investigated and then did nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you,
bro,
officers.
even in the 1920s, the
Even in
cops
the
didn't want to
1920s.
help anybody.
Yep.
It's terrible.
What is with people escaping and then the police being like, I'm sure this is fine.
They were no, but it was
Happens.
1920s. So like, a woman? You mean a dame knocked you up? That doesn't sound believable. That doesn't sound plausible. Plus, they're on an island, and I don't want to. I don't want to get my shoes wet.
Eventually, the walls came in, everything collapsed, and the core group of people that were getting locked in cellars.
Wait,
and-
literally or
no, metaphorically.
Okay,
But-
I thought you were telling me it's like he just
Look,
like eventually
that
he
was
just
a
didn't-
metaphor.
He just didn't he didn't deal with any of the upkeep of the fortress, and it just fell on it.
Madam Z was too busy like locking people in the cellars, and
And then
like,
everybody
notice
was
that the
locked, so
walls-
they couldn't get out.
No, but eventually the chickens come home to roost, and everyone's like, "I want my fucking money back, you bitch! Why? What the fuck? I'm gonna go get the police." And how do you think Brother 12 responded to that?
This is when he said, "This is not a metaphor.
This is very serious and real.
This
what I'm
is
about to say.
Very real,
This
and
is very literal. I have a gun."
close. He destroys everything. He
Oh, so he
smashed the
does?
colony to pieces.
So
he like
fucked.
fucked.
So that's when it went from figurative to literal, where he just
He's like,
destroyed
"You don't want
it.
me
The
at my
walls
literal."
came down.
Yeah. Then the literally of smashing buildings, farm equipment, and a sailboat. They then escaped on a private tugboat rather than appear in court to answer to the charges. They fled
He
to
just
Europe
yeeted
and
out?
reported to have taken a large amount of gold with them.
This man's living like a James Bond villain.
So he just loaded up a boat with gold and took off for Europe.
Yep. And he supposedly died in Switzerland in 1934, though he may have fabricated his death. And he may have subsequently met with his lawyer in San Francisco.
Okay. So what we're hearing is that he did rob a bunch of people, but I guess they were like holding people prisoner too. So I guess like,
I think it was like less like holding people prisoner and then just like doing shit to like break them down as occult people.
yeah.
Like that's kind of how, because it doesn't sound like it was like, oh, I'm keeping you in the prison because you're definitely going to be trouble. It sounds a lot more of like, you got to prove to me that you're about it spiritually and care about this shit.
Okay.
So you get locked in the
So
fucking
this one
cellar
is
for a
just
while.
another elaborate money con though.
Yeah, but I like this one because this one's a lot more open about it. Maybe because it's just like it's such a shorter, because that's the problem we have. Like the Solar Temple, those people are obviously crazy.
Yeah, it
You know,
ends
'cause
very,
it
very
stopped
badly.
being about the just. It probably never was just about the money for those people. They seemed really into the power play, and maybe they even believed their fucking
they might have
Jesus
believed their
Messiah
own
shit a little
hype.
bit.
Yeah.
And Happy Science guy, he's still going. He's keeping the K-fob up. You know, he's pretending this shit is real. Whether Brother 12 believed any of this stuff, you can at least follow the lines of once people got mad and demanded the money back, and he was getting sent to court.
Burned everything
he just
down
burned
and
everything
left.
down and he's like, "Fuck it, I am
Fuck
out.
you guys, I'm outie.
This is as far as this train goes."
I do like the idea that he just basically found out about Theosophy, and he was just like, "Yeah, fuck, I could steal that. That's fine. I could spout that off to people." You said you were Osiris. He's like, "No, that was a metaphor. I understand that it is the current year, 1929, which is the current year, and you are all mostly uneducated. But I see a metaphor is when you say something that doesn't actually mean what you said." And then they just were like, give us back our money. And he's like, no.
I've already bought gold.
I've already purchased the gold.
I've taken all of your copper.
Well, we're going to get the police. And he's like, oh, you will you?
Well, I would suggest you leave quickly to go get them.
Yeah.
If you excuse me, I'm going to take my large club and axe and stand outside for a little while. Did one of you dock the boat by chance?
Madam, our boat awaits. Yes, he just smashes them.
Like they literally like walk off the island. Like they're just gonna like, oh, we're going to show him. And then they turn around and you just see like the smoke piling up in the air.
Oh man, could you imagine? Like, because there had to be like fire and shit going on, right? So it's like, imagine looking over the horizon as you're getting closer back. And it's like, that's fine. He just burned everything.
He literally just lit everything on fire.
I can't fucking believe
this motherfucker.
He locks me in a cellar. He takes all of my money. He tells me that he's Osiris and I'm Isis and I gotta get fucked in the butt. And now he's lighting the place on fire. I'm starting to think this guy isn't a very good spiritual teacher.
Boy. All right. I'm gonna see. Okay, again, ignoring the crimes. This is like
No, see, because his crimes aren't even that bad.
well, it's still
Like they're just like abusing people, but like that doesn't compare to like fucking murder, obviously.
yeah.
And it doesn't even compare to like really compare to like fake vaccine hype and like, you know, promoting traditional family values. This sounds like taking advantage of wealthy people that are dumb.
Yeah, it's true. It is funny. It is worth noting that like they specifically in the Scientology sort of way targeted the big fish. I think this is one of the few times cult leaders get away with.
Yeah, he got away and he didn't like kill himself or kill
And he
other
didn't
people.
even like start. He didn't even get away and then like start back up. He was just like,
Well, he might have. Who knows? Like, check it out. I'm totally different occult man, Brother 13.
That's fair. That's
Please note my comically large mustache. That fits over my already comically large mustache.
Okay, ignoring like the crime aspects, the whole note of the whole MO of the cult itself is just it's like a 3. It's like there's just nothing that great, but there is something very funny about the idea of like that was a metaphor.
See, I'm gonna give him at least a 6. I think he's on par with.
That's gonna be my get out whenever anybody calls me on anything. It's like no, that was a metaphor. That was a metaphor.
What do you mean? You metaphorically pulled out.
I spent all that money already. Metaphorically.
I have bought the gold. I just like that. I like the idea that like they confronted him and he was just like,
what?
"Oh, you seem very mad." Well, I will certainly have a lot to think about while you guys are all fetching the police.
Yeah. Make sure all of you should go together so you can give your statements at once. I'll be here. Don't worry.
I'm gonna think about what I've done.
Or imagine like the police serving him his court order where it's like, hey, you need to be. It's like, oh, well, I'll definitely be there. You don't have to worry about me.
I just have the mental image of him
As
like
the
standing
boat is like,
on the boat, pushing himself.
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, we'll be there. Monday, right? Monday,
7 a.m.
We'll see you
of course.
bright and early,
Like every other Monday.
Yes, sir.
What's that smell? Oh, nothing. Kind of smells like burning timber. Maybe you should go check that.
Yeah, you should go look over there.
Madam Z, get the ore
for an extended period of time. Look over in that direction, please.
Do we have one more?
This isn't so much like a specific cult. I just thought that this was like a really neat example, and it doesn't involve like people stealing money or eating each other or, you know,
Any of the fun
metaphors.
cult stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want it.
Okay, have you guys heard of the cargo cult phenomena?
Oh, yeah.
For anyone who somehow doesn't know, a cargo cult is a shorthand that showed up during World War II. Cargo ships would be going around, and various in the specific island, the specific islands or Pacific Islands, not specific. In these specific Pacific Islands, these tribes that had never seen like cargo ships, or they'd never really seen these kind of massive boats or planes or soldiers in particular, never saw any of these things, and they begin mimicking and venerating certain iconography of these more advanced civilizations, like carving sticks to look like rifles. It's a neat, interesting phenomena. People have speculated on that perhaps all cults are actually cargo cults, ancient aliens. Ooh. But in Papua New Guinea, right, there is a example of this sort of cargo cult, whatever, or maybe in a way just cross-pollination of culture, right? But they have a concept in certain areas and amongst certain groups of these war shields, right? One of the things that these New Guinea people got their hands on from soldiers, right, are comic books. So they would have these shields where they would paint animals or noted warriors and stuff like that. And the idea of that the aesthetics of these things would also allow a level of attainment of that or attaining or aspiring to that, the power of that animal or that iconography on the shield, right? So if you start seeing comic books where, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Supergran.
Give us another man. Give us another man.
Iceman.
Iceman.
Yeah.
Name that man.
So all of
Hydro
these,
Man.
you see all of these characters.
Sandman.
You start seeing them.
Japan Man.
What are you gonna do? Well, the point is that what are you gonna
Shinriko Man.
You done? You done?
Black Panther Man.
Just sounds like the Watchmen, that scene where it's like, we have them comics. Superman, Flash Man. And it's like, Flash Man, you didn't need that part, dude. He was just the Green Lantern Man. What?
Holy shit.
Wonder Woman Man.
Wonder Woman Man.
In the final analysis, I don't know the names of these superheroes properly. These tribes and these peoples would start painting these war shields with like superhero iconography. And I'm not 100% on how much of it has like any sort of deep-rooted spiritual beliefs to it, or like, that sort of thing. But I think, at least with certain cultures, it's like the notion of painting a wolf, like a Chernobyl wolf on something for its power, is that the symbol that you can conjure up like that has a power to it. So it's not just, Superman's shield looks cool, so I'm going to paint it. There really is the idea of like, I'm going to aspire to this Superman power, the power that is in the symbol. In a weird way, these are like the first pop culture magicians. These guys beat Morrison by decades and decades and decades. But I do think that one of the notable things is that a very popular character amongst these is the Phantom.
And the Billy Zane one?
Yeah, the guy played by Billy Zane, the Phantom. Dude in his purple suit, toting guns and all that stuff. He's like the immortal man. He's the man who cannot die because he's actually, for those of you who don't know, the Phantom was like a really old, like one of the very early, comic strips and like ongoing series sort of things of a man who is the latest iteration of the Phantom, where the Phantom is passed from person to person and as a legacy. Perhaps the idea of like a warrior with a cultural legacy passed down, maybe that particularly resonated with them, but like he's exceedingly popular for a character who ain't remembered at all in America at this point. Like people don't give a shit. They were like, that Billy Zane thing, and it's only because you vaguely remember that we're talking about him. It's a very interesting one considering that like you don't see this type of thing very often. You know what I mean? And in general, you're not gonna you're not going to see that kind of reverence paid to any sort of pop culture figure like that. I think it's only in the last couple of decades that fandom has gone to the extent that people like really rave over it like that. And then to see it in a completely foreign culture is another step removed, where it's like, oh, that's wild, like shit. And you think it's like because of World War broke out and soldiers carry their comic books along with them, and now there are war shields that you can see that are painted with the Phantom on it. And it isn't just, oh, we thought the Phantom looked cool. It's like there seems to be a genuine magical or animistic element to the purpose of these things, and that's, to me, that is just fascinating.
I think it shows a general awareness of the power of symbol and these mythic figures in outside of a cultural landscape. I think Grant talked about at one point this sort of moment they had reading comics where they realized how like flat and meaningless a Batman comic was. The power of something like Batman can only become so banal and meaningless to you if you're someone like me who's been steeped in that culturally for so long. I grew up with Batman. Batman has existed longer than I've been alive. So Batman has a certain sterility to it, especially being like the way I've consumed Batman in my life, where we had Funtime Batman, and then I saw the Adam West Batman, and then I had fucking Val Kilmer and Michael Keaton Batman, and then I had an animated series Batman, and then grungy Frank Miller Batman and Christian Bale Batman.
Why have we had so much Batman in our existence?
Well, because we love, because simultaneously we do see the power and the reverence of these symbols as these pop culture icons. We see them merely as symbols and as consumable characters. So they don't have the sort of reverence and power that the Phantom gets in a culture like that, where the closest I can come up to it is kind of like, I don't know, seeing soldiers with like religious symbols on their weapons.
I think we talked about seeing like Ganesha on assault rifles at one.
Yeah, Ganesha.
Oh, ha ha ha.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, and hey, it is a etymologically sound pun.
It sounds like a pun. I get it, but that's not quite nearly as common.
No, and it's not even the same, because I think that there might be some cultural reverence to this as opposed to the sort of purely symbolic kind of reading you get off of something like, you know, cargo cult types, where they see some shit like that and they're like, I can't even speak the fucking language that's in these comic books, but I see this fucker running through and busting shit up. Or if they do and they have, then they see it as like, oh yeah, he's like this immortal warrior. Of course I want that energy.
You were a guy who's like the immortal man, and he's also like, you know, or in the case, like he's a lineage of warriors. And he's like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy. You know, it's like you give something like that 100 years in a vacuum. Pretty eventually, they'd all be like, "Oh yeah, we're all sons of the Phantom." When a myth resonates with a particular background, that's totally like it can totally take over like that too.
I'm gonna give this a 8. I think this is pretty fucking cool. I can't give it a perfect score though, because no one was robbed of large amounts of money. A boat was not burned. No crimes were committed.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that score. That's the one thing that I don't feel like is honestly that cringe. And ironically, it's the people that are painting comic books.
Yeah, right. If you had told me a couple years ago that people painting fucking the Phantom on shit would be the least cringe thing I dealt with today, I'd have stockpiled more gold.
In that case, we can move right on to our palette cleanser.
Mm-hmm. How goes the work?
It's going all right. I mean, I've gone really hard into the Birdio stuff. I keep thinking like I can find a way to break from it. It's like no, it's like I am really
just head first into fucking spiders and scorpions.
Yeah. I'm down bad for some Birdio nonsense. You know what? I hate to say it like this too. Maybe this is a good time to bring it up. I realize Michael Kelly was his name, right? The guy from the Pappas Club. Like maybe I was a little too hard on him looking at how much I enjoy Birdio, and I'm looking at Birdio. I was like, yeah, this is a bunch of like repurposed Western stuff and nonsense and craziness, and you were just copying with a cool aesthetic that you liked, and you used it to get followers and sell books and all this stuff. So it's like, it's really what is Michael Kelly's crime that he's doing it closer to my time period? You know, like I enjoy-
No, it's that he's doing it with dragons. And if we were talking Fringe or Cringe on dragons are always cringe.
Well, it's, I mean,
like maximum cringe.
During the episode we talked about it, I said it's like just certain things seem really fucking hokey to me. And if I use the word were spiders with the right or wrong person, I guess they're gonna be like, that is the most cringe shit I've fucking heard in months.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is sometimes it's just what pastiche you're comfortable with. But so maybe I still think some of the things he said in those books were fucking knucklehead nonsense, and I hated it. But maybe I shouldn't have been quite so hard on him just because he's trying to make a buck.
Well, if you would like, we can go talk about the dragons again, maybe in a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested in that.
Anyway, I'm doing a lot of Birdio stuff. That's for anybody who's curious. When I say the Totemic Amphibious Spirits of the water as elucidated by the Necronomicon physics, that's a Birdio joke. That's literally
It's dope
just
as fuck too.
It sounds fucking tight as shit, right? The Totemic Amphibious Spirits of the water, like, you know, it's just it doesn't roll off the tongue, but if you keep saying it, it's like, ooh. But I've always had
it's got a little juice in it.
Yeah. But I've always had a fondness for amphibious things in general. I mean, I was talking about frogs earlier. It just shows you I got a fondness for the amphibious spirits. But yeah, I was trying to get certain types of like initiatory experiences, and now I'm just sort of I'm trying to work a couple specific ritual stuff that were described in like the Gnostic Voodoo, and then there's some stuff in ontological graffiti. So I'm working all of that, and nothing exciting or too crazy has happened yet, but I'm just, you know, plugging along, hoping something. Hopefully I get some interesting stories to tell in the next couple weeks. What about you?
Hell yeah.
As people in our Discord know, I've been moving, and I've only been at where I'm at now for like 5 days, and So I've been doing my bare bones practice shit. I've been doing Resh. I've been banishing. I've been doing some meditation, as I always do. These are just the normal things you do to keep yourself together spiritually. I have not attempted any great workings. I'm going to do something when I leave here from this fine establishment and go home. And hopefully that'll be useful. And it's not for anything amazing. I just want someone to give me some money. So I'm going to do some money magic. It's not anything
man,
crazy.
I know who you could ask for some money.
Who?
Wealthy socialites, and do it under the guise of giving them spiritual knowledge.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my plan. I feel like this was like a case of retro causality of magic, because I'm sitting here thinking like, how am I going to get some money? And then of course it fell right in my lap. Say that you're God, and you know that find a wealthy socialite.
Yeah.
Like, it seems so obvious. And if it's obvious to me, then it must be way obvious to everyone else, because I'm a fucking idiot.
I think I know what happened to Brother 12.
Gary!
Are you Brother 12?
No.
Well, I guess the jig is up.
Oh no, my comically large mustache, gold reserves, and boat.
Good day, gentlemen.
And then you just hear like the tugboat.
Yeah, I'll put the tugboat
Audio in the background.
I've got a steamboat Willie to catch. I can say that now.
And with that, this has been Chaos Magic News.
Hey, if you guys like wolves, we got a wolf shirt. Check it out.
Chernobyl wolf shirt?
No.
The only podcast that is going to be selling you a Chernobyl wolf shirt.
Oh, God.
If you also would like to figure out exciting ways to make
I'm just
vast
kidding, by
amounts
the
of
way.
money. But
No.
shut up. We're trying to do the
No.
fucking outro. Jesus H. Christ. As always, if you would like to derail this fucking episode, you could try going to chaosmagicnews.com, where we'll have links to the pod, links to our prolific interview series, and we've got some new interviews getting lined up to come down the pipeline really, really soon. We'll also have the occasional article. God, we really got to work on articles. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all at Chaos Magic News. And we've got a Patreon where we post, I think we're going to do twice monthly bonus content.
Yep, twice a month. If the pod itself, which comes out about twice in a month to begin with, isn't enough for you, we have some wonderful things. The last two we did are covering the Saturnian She-Ball magic that we talked about in the Orthodox Christmas episode. And we just did a little bit of a thing where we talked about some simple practices that we thought that more cultists should do. It's fun stuff. And if you're interested in that, you can join for $5 a month. $5 a month gets you in on the show. And with that said, it also gets you thanked in all of our episodes now, because we asked if you wanted us to do that and nobody said no.
Big shout outs to
Thank you, Obsblick. Thank you, Andrea WK. Thank you, Loki Sater. Thank you, Local. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Cios93. Thank you, Alexander with like a 4 and way too many R's. Thank you, Coco Macno. And thank you, Kirsten. You all make this show not only possible, but you make it a joy to do.
We had even more people than I thought we did.
Yeah, I know.
Man, y'all are the fucking best.
Yeah, we genuinely cannot express how wonderful it is that you guys are not only listening, but willing to give your money to for us to justify doing this more.
Man, that's God, y'all are the shit.
Yeah.
Well, I have good news for you guys. I am going to invoke the Totemic and the Totemic Amphibious Spirits of the water, as elucidated by the Lovecraftian physics, to do something super special for you. You're not even gonna know what it is, but you're gonna wake up and you're gonna find like, oh man, what's this $5 doing in my coat pocket or something like that.
Why would you give them $5 if they're giving us $5?
No,
You didn't think this through at all.
Wolves of Chernobyl. Wolves are Chernobyl. Wolves of Chernobyl.
Like that, just I like how the first time you got Wolves of Chernobyl out, and after that it just turned into word mush.
Just turned into noise.
Chernobyl, Wolves of Chernobyl.
All right. With all of that out of the way,
Damn.
G, how about you get the last word this time?
Okay.
No.
No, I don't want to.
No, if you're not getting it, no.
I've goofed it.
Everyone just be quiet.
Okay.
I have a headache. My
I'm
head
sorry.
really hurts. I'm very tired. It's been a very stressful week for me.
Same, bro. It's gonna
So-
get better.
Yeah.
Look, man, if wolves can make it in Chernobyl, maybe we can make it through this.
No, we can't. That's not how this, if we were
Pound
wolves in Chernobyl, we would make it through this.
Bro, you can't leave me hanging. Pound it.
No.
Come on, bring it in.
Thank you all for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye. Bring it in. Come on. You can't just leave me hanging. Not on the podcast. He did it, guys.
He did it.
He did it.
I didn't see it, but he did it. Okay.